I learned, I'm not from Wood County, but I've lived here for 20 years. I learned more about the oil and gas industry in like that one day than I have the entire time. Some of the things that they do to, drill horizontally and how they can direct that, how they send signals back to the top, how they monitor all of that very, the thing that really impressed me about it is that there's a lot of common sense in the engineering, right? Like if you buy a brand new car, sometimes it's just fancy, right? And it's so fancy that sometimes stuff doesn't work. But like in these sections of pipe where they start drilling horizontally and they have to get to it, they change about 8 to 10 degrees every 100 feet. And they have this section of pipe that has pistons or pads that come out and just, as it rotates when they hit the bottom, they push so that it changes it. And they have like 20 feet of pipe with all sorts of electronic sensors measuring like gamma, all sorts of things. And then that's all converted to an electronic signal that is then picked up by a mechanical device, much like Morse code, that pulses and then sends that signal to the screen and it's interpreted. And so it's kind of like they could just send it into another electronic device or another computer and then send it to another computer. But it was kind of like, well, we can do it simply with this, mechanical device. Let's just keep it simple. If it works, it works. And so that's one thing that I was incredibly impressed about, just the use of technology where they have to for efficiency, but also, just keeping it simple. But we learned a whole lot. We made a lot of good contacts, even having vendors there that we could pull resources from and look at different things. So it's really advantageous.
I have a question, if that's okay. We had a candidate forum, which I think, obviously, we had a school board member. And one of the questions we brought to by the audience was, in our oil and gas teachings, is there any component that has anything to do with water and reuse and disposal? Is that built in? And I know at some point I'm sure it can be. I didn't have a really good answer whether or not that was part of this current curriculum and development. I didn't think it was, is my answer, but I wasn't sure, and I just asked if that would be something that we would consider.
So water as it pertains to the oil and gas industry, or water in our region?
As it pertains to oil and gas, like
So
produced waters,
yes.
things of that nature.
So actually what they found, which this was really interesting too, a few years ago, there were a bunch of earthquakes in Oklahoma that the oil and gas industry got blamed for. And as they started looking at data and started doing research, what they found is that kind of like our SWDs that are all around here, where they just drill a well and pump produce water down there. In some cases, it was produced water wells that they were drilling and pumping it down there that created the problems with the faults and created those earthquakes. And so that's something that they're constantly learning. So I think that is an issue. I will tell you that one of the things that I learned this week is that if they can reuse water, if they can treat it and reuse it, they will. They'll use it for a number of different things, right? Like not all water that they can actually use for fracking or whatever, but
is that something we might add into our curriculum in the future, or is that part of our
it is
the water side, because oil and gas and the water side they're different. So is that something that we can eventually move into the CTEC part of it, or is it currently part of our curriculum?
So it's part of the curriculum because the curriculum as a whole covers pretty much every aspect
of
the oil and gas, some more deeply than others.
Right.
But it will talk about, even in course one, toward the end, when they're talking about casings, surface casings and all of that, they talk about the different methods that they use to try to protect our water supply.
Right.
And also ways that they can reuse produced water. One of the ways is if they can treat it, and there's some like treatment sites that can treat it to the level that it's appropriate for livestock, and so they do that. And it's very hard to get it potable for people, but So to get it to that point, they do.
So it is addressed in the.
It is, and I can't say how much depth is.
Oh, I understand, right.
But,
I just didn't have a good answer because I just didn't know, so I was just wondering.
and that was one of the things that I was really impressed with the curriculum, is that it's just so comprehensive that, you know, I think it, by far of all the different curriculums that we looked at, it was by far covered as, you know, as much of it as possible.
And we were at one of the meetings and the oil and gas companies were impressed because we're using the same software they train their own employees with.
Right.
We're using the same stuff that they train their employees with. And so it'd be really nice when we get out of, when they get out of high school.
And that was an auxiliary resource that, you know, that was a part of the curriculum or part of it set up. We heard about it somewhere, I called the guy and he's like, yeah, we'll get this done. And so we've been working with him not only to do that, but we have a few ideas of things to come maybe where he can give us 3D models that we can 3D print to simulate certain things. So that's one thing that he's really good about, and also see if he can kind of collaborate with us to give us different simulators, because that particular resource, very relevant to kids, very engaging. You know, a lot of online resources, you sit there, you watch a video, you take a test. You know, you sit there, you watch a video, you read, you take a test. But that's not this one. But this one, there'll be like a central tank battery. It's an actual central tank battery by company X. And all of a sudden, there's an emergency and they have to shut in the well within 30 seconds. And so the timers will be like, literally have to run over here, turn this, close this valve, run over here, you know, turn this off.
It's just
And
scale
so,
type.
yeah, it's a virtual simulation. It's like a video game, honestly. And so when he kind of gave that presentation to me and kind of ran us through exactly what we went through on the simulations, I said, you could have that. Because they're gonna love it, and they do. And I think we posted that on the Facebook page. Yes.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Yo, thank you. We're getting a lot of positive feedback from that. You know, just the idea that we're doing this. There's a lot of some questions you really can't perform about the CTEC and HOPS and the we're taking part and such. And so that's not good, but reinforcing what we're doing here is a lot of it. Yes, sir.
A few things on my side of the high school. Attendance is up and up. We're seeing a lot less students being absent, tardy, because now we're holding them accountable. So that's being kind of helped out. The Rocket program is still going strong. We have with our Rocket 2 and 3, we have Zoom meeting with Chris Maxson at NASA. And then our Lego, we're having our Lego competition here again on December 6th. I want to give it to Schneider because they had asked for us to kind of go to other schools and invite them to come over on January 6th so that we can get more schools to participate in that, especially on the eastern side of New Mexico. So, and then the elementary.
Right.
That's it, yeah. So
Cool. You know, and I have to just give you guys props. I mean, all of our staff will take part in all of the programs, whether it's elementary, junior high, high school, Legos, Systems Go, CTEC. I mean, it's so crazy. If you think about the size of our districts, the location of our districts, right. And you know, honestly, in most cases, we're dismissed, right? We're not relevant in their minds. And now you guys are doing such an amazing job that now those districts are coming down to us to go, what are you doing? How are you doing it? How are you so successful? How are you so competitive? And student outcomes are just in all of those areas, man. So thank you guys. It's so wonderful to see that taking place. It wouldn't happen unless you guys are doing this. Thank you. That's awesome. We hear more and more stuff about every place I go to these days. I hear so many things about our programs and being connected in the medical field. I'm always hearing about our SPED departments. And I'm just hearing so many different things that they see us in the newspaper with our Legos. You guys do the Legos. Right, why are you on the front page of the paper with Legos and you're competing in the Rocket? You know, state aid. It's pretty prominent people, I would say definitely in the southeastern part of the state, that I've had the opportunity to interact with and meet with, they all know what you guys are doing. It's pretty cool to go, yeah, come on board. You know, it's kind of neat. So,
We have 276 kids and 277 programs.
It feels like that someday.
Gosh, another program.
Anything else? Any questions? No, thank you all very much.
Mr. Little, I didn't say you could leave, but you can
Oh.
leave. Sorry.
I know. All right, okay, I have, Ms. Crawford wants to just get on a phone call, is that okay? Oh, yeah, absolutely. Do you not have a telecom, like a? I love it.
It's old. So-
It's not, it's
I don't know where. There should be. Okay, are you there, Ms. Crawford?
Yes, I'm here. Yes, sir.
We'll put you coming in at 5:54.
Okay, thank you.
You're
Appreciate it.
Yes.
Hello, Amy.
Hi, everybody.
We were just talking about, all of our EdTech money, and we're using Mr. Schneider's cell phone option because he thinks that that's the best option. So put you on speaker. So anyways, so we're now down to, item number 6, which is our updates on all of our construction and all that. So where would you like to go first, Mr. Schneider?
Okay. So, Robert, would you like to go ahead and give your, what's going on right now, topic thing?
Well, I would start with baseball. We're getting really close with baseball with the facility building. Derek was out there today, and he thinks we have a price putting some different type of floor treatment on it. It's just sealed concrete, and it aesthetically it doesn't look very good. We went to oil and gas, and that epoxy paint in there, so he asked us to do more quote on that. He's gonna kind of do a little tweaking on the concession. There was an old closet in there for all your data and communication stuff, and we tore that out, and it's made that space a lot more usable. And Derek's come up with some ideas to make it where it's really gonna work. So it's very minor changes, but it'll really, I think, be beneficial to y'all to make it work.
So when we did all the plans, we built a new, changing room and bathrooms, but the old building was just gutted.
Right.
No other plans for it. I don't know if y'all remember that, but there was really nothing else on it. So what they're doing now, they're going back in, Mr. Office has been going in. We were met on what do we want in there. We don't want a lot of lower cabinets. We want things kind of open because rodents and stuff. I mean, it's just kind of out there. So we don't want a lot of closed in type cabinetry. And so we just went in there, we're going to kind of streamline it and put all the electrical in it and then cabinetry like stainless steel, make it pretty simple in there, but very more usable than what it was. So y'all will know that's why you're gonna be hearing about stuff that really wasn't in the plan, actually. Yeah.
That makes sense.
One of the things that I'm gonna have to do to close the job out is we're gonna have to go ahead and put the parking lot lighting in. And I talked to Derek a week or so ago.
Okay.
It's under the electrical. I can't get electrical closeout
Uh-huh.
until all the lighting is done. And then since that's on the plan, electrical inspectors.
Huh.
But I spoke with Derek, they're on concrete pedestals like some of the other lights. So if we have them at a certain height, when the city does whatever they're gonna do with the street, it shouldn't affect it. That's why we're leaving the parking lot alone anyway, because if they elevate that street, they may have to redesign the parking lot for water flow.
So you make sure the lights are high enough?
They're gonna be on a concrete pedestal, be high enough, and they're gonna be positioned where they go. They just, Derek may have to make some elevation grade changes for the water flow. So, but that's the only thing that was gonna deter us from closing it out, so we're gonna make that happen.
Well, we have Mr. Myrick here. Do you know anything on that street when there's?
It's funny, we just talked about that this week.
So
So
you're here.
everybody knows Dow is basically the Alameda. But American Construction on the east side is the flattest place in the county. So the road will not be elevated. We're having a hard time getting it designed so that it'll even drain. So no elevation change on the road itself, but pretty much the surface that you see there now is going to stay just with new asphalt.
That's interesting.
And while I was out there, I mean, it doesn't pertain to us, but they're moving fairly quickly on their field. They've got all the grass out and your synthetic turf is going in it. It's gonna look nice.
And that should be, we are on a trajectory to be complete by spring,
Yes.
right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, are you sure?
He's not a real confident.
Yeah, he's got a real comment.
But we didn't say which spring.
Let's start with the 20.
Oh, that's reassuring.
No, it should be.
I thought I knew where I was,
Yeah.
I knew that we were waiting, or not waiting, but the elevation of the streets, that was one component. I remember the whole discussion, so it sounds like we're moving forward.
Now, the parking lot, I don't know when that will be, how long that's gonna take to actually,
That's,
because we were waiting kind of on the city
Right.
to see the design, the engineering part
Right.
on that, but as far as the actual facility goes, that should button up fairly quickly.
Yeah, the items we have left, and like I said, with even in addition to putting the epoxy paint on there, it's not gonna add much time to it. It's close.
Can we go to Terrazzo?
No.
Alright.
You tell us that is the word that we strike from this conversation. There's no vocabulary, there's no longer.
No more.
If he ever mentions Strazza, you just say, the word's already given me the direction.
So coming back down the street, we'll stop at the indoor facility. That, you've seen a lot of activity over there. That has been moving extremely well.
Right.
So well that we're putting it up faster than the trucks can deliver it. They have to leave at lunch today.
Wow, okay,
So the precast concrete is going really well.
good. That's good.
It was a big concern of ours because you've got a lot of components in a building like that. And I was sweating it to make sure things fit. That stuff comes from Denver. It fits. So somebody got lucky.
Yeah.
Your front yard looks interesting. All piece of machinery all the way.
There's stuff all over my house there.
Okay.
Part of the construction done now.
Yes.
You may like this.
I should have done something in public comments on that. That's one thing, y'all get an advantage of the neighbor that's not in the drive.
We just want to listen to you.
Okay, whatever.
But your alleyway is looking really nice. And it's
Yeah.
about 3/4 away. Complete. It's gonna make a nice drag strip behind your house.
I have wondered if there should be some, I don't, everybody else says speed bump, but I don't know.
You know, it's really not narrow for two vehicles, I don't think.
Okay, good.
Moving forward with that, the elementary is, as you can see, this front tie-in is getting closer to be complete. We're doing interior finishes on it. The tiles underway, a lot of it's complete in the restrooms, flooring, cabinets are installed, counters going in. So the interior finishes are really coming along.
Still the December date.
Yes.
Well, good was this, okay.
I asked him that earlier today. And he said yes. So every other day I ask him.
If Dusty don't throw in more change orders.
It'll do change orders, guys.
Oil and gas is really close to being finished. Dusty's got the school equipment that's scheduled for, what did you say, November?
November 10th.
We will be ready. The only holdup right now is Mr. Meyer, because we don't want to water meter over there.
Oh, okay.
So you have your application.
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah.
I've been there for like 6 weeks.
Fantastic.
I'll start looking for work.
Man, I'm glad you're here, Mr. Marvick. He's got me thinking, why did I come in?
Sorry, Dan, I had to throw you under the bus.
That's okay.
I'm more for my goats.
That was just a good answer, 6 weeks ago. It's like, oh, they're gonna say, what?
Oh, yeah, weren't we supposed to?
Junior high is kind of more grades. I'm still kind of keeping an eye on it. It is, it's moving well. We're gonna do a little bit of shift change. The Calwell windows have a long lead time on them. So when our framing crew comes back Monday, I'm gonna get them to concentrate on the exteriors so we can get those ordered.
Yeah, we talked about that to dry in to make sure we've got to get that floor finished as soon as possible and the old gym. So we're back up to 3 gyms around basketball season.
And y'all are aware of the letter that your floor contractor said. He thinks that whole floor needs to be replaced. So,
What? Did you know this?
Did you hear?
Did we know that?
We talked about it.
But we're on
it came to light to me last
Oh,
week.
right.
There's only a few that say.
Yeah.
We went in with a moisture meter and they checked it at different depths and it's holding too much moisture. And it-
Right, so let me ask you this, and I'm sure you guys have already explained this to me, I just forgot. Was this due to a rain and flood, or was this due to just the HVAC and the fact that it's not humidity controlled?
It was due to a rain
Okay,
event.
that's what I thought, I
Yes,
just
sir.
didn't know if it was our.
Insurance and Lasco's insurance are on it, so already. So
And we cut out the section floor that was affected by the water, but it's retaining so much humidity in that building, it's just not letting it dry out. It's spread through the whole thing. He checked it several areas.
So what is our time frame for that?
It's when they get, once they get the, work with Lasco and to the details, it's 8 to 10 weeks from when they start to completion. That's from the floor company there, because it's more than just the top wood, it's the
Subfloors.
under it as well.
That's a process, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you have your humidity level right before you can install, and all that stuff, right?
Well, the substrate members under there, the way they put that floor down, and if y'all wanna look at it, there's a big hole cut in there. They put wood under there and it's got plywood and he said they think they can save, I call them framing members. There may be a few that they have to replace. Some of them were pretty wet, but that's gonna save a lot of time leaving the substrate under. So we got junior high,
Bus farm?
Bus barn is moving well. We've got, plumbing, rough end plumbing's in, it's been inspected, it's covered up. Monday, they'll start putting the rebar grid down, we'll start pouring floor. I've had a massive amount of cinder blocks CMU's brought in, and that's what the walls are. We've got the steel for the top, but bar joists are in, so once we get that floor poured, you're gonna see pretty quick progress on that one.
And over there, back at the indoor facility, we have been talking to some neighbors that are living right up against that fence, and I've talked to Mr. Ragsdale, and he's agreed to purchase that land. And then possibly in the future, the school purchase it back, so we can have that, that little walk where they live there. So eventually we can get that walk right there and have it on both sides of the street. Because right now we have that little brick house we tore down on the east side, and then now on the west side is what they're talking about right there. Do you know where? Okay, it's right behind the new indoor facility.
But what's the point of having somebody buy it first and then we buy it from them?
Because they don't have the same constraints that we do on purchasing, and we don't have to get appraisals and the school. In other words, if they want to pay more than the appraisal, that's their priority to do so.
It's just not, so what do you want to be aware that it's not on the agenda to talk
Yeah.
about housing purchase?
And so it's-
Specifically, yeah.
So the update is that's what they're working on, just to keep the convenience factor for people and then get the crane and all the equipment and everything that they need. They can see that as very beneficial to them.
Your procurement code kind of ties your hands on stuff, and we can go pay for it.
Oh, okay.
Their priorities.
And the building can be put up without that piece of property, but to put the exterior finishes behind there, we don't even really have enough room to put scaffolding in safely. It's gonna make it beneficial. I mean, for what John's willing to pay for that, I'll make it up in time, because it's gonna take me that much more time to have to work in a little 6-foot area on an 80-foot tall building. It's just,
Yeah.
I've been looking at scaffolding like window washing scaffolding, because there's no way to put mechanical scaffolding from the ground up and even get material there. So we were trying to rig it up where we had scaffolding on hoists. They're quite expensive. He probably paid half of what he's willing to give her for that, so.
So, yeah, I do have a question. So I had a discussion actually today that crane is actually completely impeding the ingress and egress of that house.
And we checked with them.
She gets out.
Okay,
And you know, I told her beforehand, it's gonna be a little tight. I
Right.
work with her. She's very cordial with it.
Right.
And then I think she's seen all the movement. She goes, how long is this gonna go on? I said, well, a week or two for this part.
right,
But it'll be about a 2-year process. And I
right.
think that overwhelmed her. You mean you're, I said, yeah, we're gonna be working here about 2 years. So I think that's made her decision to say, hey, I want to vacate.
Right, well, also, the reason I was concerned is I had heard that they did not come to school on Monday because they were, the way the crane was positioned, that they could not, well, we're talking about driving, like they couldn't get out of their driveway.
I think
Is
we
that-
checked with them on Monday morning.
Yeah, I spoke with her on Monday
Well, I'll
morning.
know for sure there's communication between them.
Okay,
And there's been a few minutes here or there, but they're moving those trucks in and out fast.
right,
They've just usually been putting a single truck in there and it leaves space on each side. There has been a few times they put 2 trucks in there because of the components they have to set. They have to have these before those,
right, I get it.
and it's
Okay.
one off this truck, one off that truck.
Well, that way you'll know that they are.
Right,
Oh,
yeah,
totally.
yeah, that's why I wanted to ask, because that was just the feedback I was getting.
And that phase of impeding the driveway is almost finished.
Yes.
With the crane. They're ahead of schedule.
We're ahead of schedule. If we can get the rest of the trucks in, they should be through that crane by Tuesday or Wednesday.
Okay.
And then it'll take them about a day to break it down and then be back out.
And then, the crane swings over our property, no one's house. That is important to me, so, and then Mr. Rolls.
What about
swings the other.
emergency services, let's say it's fire? Does the fire department, the engines and have access to the home?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah, we
Well, yeah, nobody would say that.
we continue to go down there and ask them to keep their vehicles from parked on the street.
I understand.
One lady won't answer her door. I think she thinks we're ice.
Gotcha, okay.
And then there's one truck, I talked to Mr. Lee today, because there's one truck that's been parked there for months, and none of the neighbors know who it is.
Right.
I asked him if he could find out who the owner was. Maybe stolen. It's been parked over there for
The
months.
crane will move it.
Well, I said we could put a forklift on it and send it over, but nobody seems to know whose truck it is, but it's been parked on the street there for a couple of months.
Wow. Yeah, I just want to pass that on, just to make sure that.
Good, yes, that's good. Because we just talked about this on Monday and then Tuesday, and then I've asked him more than once.
You and I spoke.
Yeah, and I've asked him more than once, and he said, I'm visiting with him early.
We appreciate that for sure.
And the
I would
other,
like to add that the kids all think that the fact that the flag is on that,
It's very cool, right?
they like that.
you gotta give Dusty credit for that.
Well, never mind.
Good job.
Because I told him for tomorrow, game, I was gonna bring a loving one and hang on there with me, and he didn't even take the joke. He was like,
Right. Good deal.
if we were to swing a live load over those houses, I'd have to have OSHA rule, I'd have to evacuate. We couldn't swing what we're doing over the houses, so that's one of the reasons we're very adamant about it. And I've spent, since they've been here, that's where I've spent the majority of my time, just making sure things run smoothly. It's actually been great because that's the most complex job, and this last week's been the easiest on me. I haven't had to deal with it.
Anything else, right?
I told Omar and Grady, it's yours, I'm staying over here, so.
Any update on the varsity gym addition or the elementary playground, anything like that right now?
I'm putting the stairs in behind elementary. We finally got a drawing. Derek's team got us a drawing. I had to tweak it a little bit because of the elevations. But once I get those stairs in, we've got a little concrete curb in there. The playground will be following that. We're gonna work our way from the back of the building straight out. Once we get that, we can start putting brick pavers in behind that. start tying that street in with the paved alleyway behind Mr. Snyder's house. And we're just gonna make a sweep, start from the elementary and work that way and complete everything. We did get the new scan on the little storage building. I don't know if y'all noticed that.
I did notice that.
It really brightened it up. The gray, it looks good, so.
Good deal. Anything else?
On that side.
I know this doesn't really pertain to you a lot, but Woolsworth Library is getting really close.
Great.
Our part is, I'd say 95% complete, maybe even a little more. We're kind of waiting on that sound system stuff. I don't have the dates. If Grady was here, he could tell you. He's really been.
And it does kind of contain us because we're buying the AV
Right.
system. And they said they have got as far as they can until the construction progresses. Just heard that today from ICE.
Well, I don't know what they're waiting on, because we're waiting on them.
You probably need to talk to Shelley.
I'll find out.
You need to talk to Shelley.
I thought you were gonna wait on, Stan.
Mr. Myrie, do you know anything about?
Well, as a matter of fact,
Perfect. Thank you, sir.
I
Anything
think
else?
I've got
for
you
us?
covered, no?
All right.
You got any questions for me?
Yeah. No questions?
Then I hit it hard.
How are you? Your turn, sir. How are you today? Fantastic. I was just about to say. Do we have a
Change orders.
Yeah. Do you have another presentation you're supposed to pull up or not?
Dusty's spoken about.
Oh, okay.
We have to control from that.
Maybe.
Pretty much it's kind of everything that Robert went over. I just had pictures of Dusty wants to go through. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
So baseball field, since I've been out there today, the drain, we've been filled for 3 feet of that open as we go overhead door. Said we've taken out, you can see the yellow, the door on the left, that was the old, rack room for the IT stuff, that's been removed, so it opened a lot. So I actually had Dusty over there today with me. We were kind of doing a walkthrough, because once that room is out, it opened a lot more, and we were talking about shifting that overhead door more to the center building. I don't think we're gonna do that anymore, because there's a lot more room in there. We'll have more discussions on how they want to handle, to bring in stainless steel tables and electrical, if that's something through us, or we'll just go straight to brick and iron, kind of work it out that way. And then athletics, you can see, since I've been here last time, a couple weeks ago, the reskinning of the storage building was done. And I had a picture that'll be coming forward where they start working on elementary seniors. I think that there was not much more from the athletics, it's just once they start moving their way down through and start putting papers. When I was here last time, they were pouring the last slab underneath the indoor. Me and Dusty actually climbed up and we were walking across all the pictures today. Most of it looks really good. There's some areas that's like slightly shifted up or down, if I adjust those, but on top of that, if you go out there and look, it looks super rough and super ugly. Just remember there's gonna be another slab on top of that that'll be the finished roof. Pretty tall, just sitting on that first floor level at almost 6 feet tall. So I was able to, I'm short, so I was able to see the fence into the field. And so I was like, I can't wait to see what the second floor brings.
Yeah, looking right at my end.
Yeah, anyway.
I don't know whose idea this was.
Well, the good thing is I got Kyle on your side of the house. So we can see her. The only thing with this project, and Dusty and Brian, I know Dusty knows Brian as well, is that I've had issues with my structural engineer doing submittals on time. So you might see a halt in the indoor while we wait for the production. Because they're behind 2 months in reviews. So I've had RJ involved, I've had our company involved trying to get sending under breaching the contract. We need these symbols now. Just so you're aware, so if you see that they put it on the topping side and they kind of like stop work, that's on us. Don't go Yellow and Glasgow, it's one of those schools.
And they are they responsive to you at this point, or is
As of
Zoom, about this.
as of yesterday, he was going through his seniors. I guess me and RJ yelled at that.
Okay.
To
appreciate that.
get that moving, so if you do see a little slowdown while we're waiting for steel, because that's all your steel columns, all your second floor, so they'll need to put all that in to be able to pour the second floor.
Right.
Before you start seeing all this.
We appreciate the update and show on that. No head.
Yeah. Elementary, stucco, on the outside starting to go in, you can start seeing, especially on the south side, about halfway up the side of the building. So they're trying to clear that off. When I was walking through the connecting corridor, it was probably 90% sealed off. So it's very close on that access point. We had that little discussion on how the existing roof line gable and that and the new roof connect, there's a little confusion on the construction part, so we're gonna kind of go through that so we can make sure everybody's on the same page. Cabinets were almost completely installed. And throughout the building, there were 3 of the 4 rooms downstairs had carpeting. They were on the glass on the second floor. They had 3 of the 4. Then the 4th one on the second floor gets trapped. That drives our panel because that's the spin room. But they're almost done with carpeting. The fully partitioned were in. And they're just kind of finishing up. There's a document Comar we're looking at. There's an accent on each of the rooms, kind of like a yellowish color. We're kind of talking about that, trying to see if there's a different color, if we just, versus seeing what it is.
We talked about colors
There was a CCR.
So I can tell you, they got
We're gonna put you under the same mandates.
You sure have.
No travel.
What was the tile? It wasn't real tile, it was a tile.
We probably listened.
You ever been in Ryan's house, the whole thing is.
Well, there's the yellowish wall in the background, the accent wall. They, Comar didn't like it too much, so we're kind of looking at it. You need to see, when I was here 2 weeks ago, they were just putting the decking on. They actually got the wall on this side as well, so they went off the corridor, and they had cross bracing or actual lateral bracing both there, so it looks like the school did design it, not corridor, but not lighting. Bus farm, I couldn't get in last time I was here, but
It's progressed a whole lot.
there's a lot more footings in there, the rebar sticking out. I was able to get a bunch of pictures today. You should see the slab. It's again, see, plus the slab down, but it's seeing wall and joists over it fairly quick. Oil and gas. They said that the last of the epoxy flooring should be in sometime next week, so they'll go, and all they're missing is toilet fixtures and some cabinetry, which I believe looking like it is a good combination.
And we would like to have a grand opening for that, when it's ready with all the equipment, so the public can see what we've got going on there. You guys would love to see it too, I'm sure.
Well,
You all might see it before that.
Well, I really think it's neat, good because they understand the whole academic, normal activities that we do, but these types of things, they're gonna stand out for.
Yes.
But yeah, so that was that. Junior high was looking good. I would say almost all of the sheeting on the exterior wall is up. They're starting to close on as much as they can. The building, they have, I'd say 95% of the framing on the interior then. Most of it's just some of the little extra stuff framing for the lockers. They can nice and big. So that one should start speeding up even faster, since they're just getting interior finishes.
That's the one that I drive, I can't just visualize the change. Like, that must be taking a long time, but I'm sure it'll come. some of the changes I've not seen.
Yeah, I mean, that one feels like it's going, it feels like it's going slower, but that's because they were in a 10-foot hole for months.
That's true.
And then you finally got it up, so now you see all the holes. I mean, just in the past month since they've been come, or the past month, 2 months, almost the exterior is completely wrapped, all the decking on the roof is in.
That's true.
All the plumbing is in, rough-ins are flooding underground inside, all the fire sprinklers are in. The ductwork is probably 90% done.
There's a lot inside.
So there's a lot inside this.
But when you see the blue on the outside, it seems like it's just been like that.
Yeah.
I thought the same exact thing until I was talking to the office and we did it, and I did just yesterday, and I'm like, oh, there's a lot more. going
Yeah,
on.
you once you walk in, you're like, oh, you get all the electric, yeah. It goes up.
It's a big gym.
Maybe for her.
That's not a kid's go.
If they don't mind.
You wait till they walk into that commons area.
Oh.
The high schoolers are gonna be jealous.
Yes, that is true.
That's good.
Vestibule, did an update to them, where they tried to find us. I know they had something, a few things to tighten up on the country.
Uh-huh. Is that your phone ringing?
We have to look for a code word. There has to be a code word in CCR that doesn't say travel, but it tricks us. It must be called something else. Tile. Yeah, tile, right.
We just say blue form. Other than that, that was it. One update, I think Robert heard most of it. Any questions on current projects?
No, just that action item.
And what was that action item?
That's how we do it.
No, I want you to pay attention to one thing. If you look right here, this nice big black number.
Right.
It's a credit I found for you. So I should give you 112,000 back.
Nice.
But then you want it back.
That's what you spent.
Yes.
We appreciate you.
So this is that project, since it was so small and our doing as minimal or as impact as we could. Our contingency was on 12,000 for the whole project. So we've had some grading changes due to some of the grades we found with the locker and how they interact. We had to add a ramp down to the dugout, close off that door on the backside of the home side of the team. Due to the sidewalk elevation, did the drainage properly. So there's a little change there. The water line removal, that's an issue between fire sprinklers and rain system. So we caught that on drawings in the last go that we had this in here, and we rushed about Merriman and where the water was going. So there was some changes there. So we got 112,000 credit for there. Biggest expenditure was the building signage. We put the Jazzia on the wall facing Maryland on the back of the locker room.
I didn't even dare pay it.
But this is a mess.
What's that? Business, right.
Yeah. It's,
So was that a Dusty or was that a Brian?
That was
Look at the eyes, look at the eyes.
I see that's facing. And that signage also included the changes to the fire department and wanting an address display. So that does have the address.
You know, these guys used to just walk by and eat your curb.
Right?
So they do that one.
That's all you get.
And then the one thing we did find in the drawings that was missed was the gates. Brian asked for gates at the main entry. Keep truck drivers from turning around and stuff like that. The drawings,
The parking lot up on the other game.
Right.
so the drawing said by others. So last we didn't pick that up in the drawing, in the pricing, so we had to make sure that was detailed. in that.
Right.
So this,
I wish we had done something like that at the softball park. I keep getting people paid now, and we've got cameras there, I mean, it's that. Yeah,
Right.
but it's nice because that's really isolated out there. You could go out there and do a lot of damage before we even saw it on cameras.
so with the credit and the expenditures, it comes out that the 34,000. Now we're breaking even right now, just to make sure that we will have a contract with us. Everything's paid for.
So that's A. Right. think that's the first credit we've ever seen.
That actually costs more.
Yeah. So maybe he goes a sign for $96,000.
You hate this one.
No, no.
Oh, my
I
God.
don't think so. Not a math.
But,
Bangers at 3 days.
that's for 2 kids.
We could have had it.
2.5.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, on that note, since we're at that piece right now, which is letter A, under updates, obviously change over to $34,042.24. Does anybody have any questions about it? Because there is an action item, so it's a motion.
I'll say.
I'll do it. So now, oh no, just code documents.
Is Ms. Crawford voting on this?
Was she
Ms. Crawford, are you still there?
Yes, I'm here, sorry.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, I didn't know.
Yeah, I apologize. I spaced
Yes,
that
for
too.
sure.
I apologize, Ms. Crawford. Did you hear that as well?
I did, for sure.
Okay, and, so we have a motion, we have a second, and then so far, the three of us have voted yes. Are you okay with that? Or are you want to be part of the vote, correct?
Yes, I'm a yes.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Sorry about that.
Thank you, no worries.
We moved the phone out of my direct vision. All right.
Okay, next. Second action item is to.
Become more magnifying glass.
Yeah, I don't think it's not. It's essentially is to approve us to go, to expand the hourly wage on the CDS contract that we have with you for master planning. It's just to extend on that, to continue working about the CTV. We have given Dustin and Brian 4 options of future master planning, kind of looking at where things could be laid out, how things could work together, so they've been reviewing it. I think their schedules haven't lined up yet. Maybe they get a full one depth with us. So I'm going to review that, but this is just for us to continue.
So that really, that covers like all the master planning that we kind of talked about that on updating all that. It will satisfy the state's requirement for a master plan every 5 years. We're not very much, we're kind of in compliance.
Right, we're not.
And it will also cover what we're kind of planning for the main campus, but in the future.
So there's one thing on the master plan with. I'm sorry, what? You good? There is one thing on the master planning with PSFA. I'm waiting for PSFA to contact me. They used to have a stipulation that if you do the master planning, you can't be the architect for this in new projects.
Okay.
So I do have to talk with them if that's something that we're allowed to do. Because on our current other projects in New Mexico, they said they were changing that process, to allow the architect to do master planning in new projects. So right now, I'm waiting on this.
So, what, so PSFA, we don't take part in their funding or anything of that direction.
So they have no teeth in our master plan.
That's.
It's a requirement, but we're one of the only districts that has no PSFA
involved, right,
because like say 95% of them do.
right,
So it's a requirement that's pretty standard across the state.
Right.
If we don't comply with it, there are no consequences.
right, that was my thought.
They would
Nothing hard.
They would withhold their funding if we were in.
Right, that's why we didn't.
But it's still a good idea to keep everything up to date.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree with that. I
Master
just wanted to make sure that if PSFA comes back and says, well, the architect can't do the master plan,
Let's
well,
still go.
we're gonna move forward because we don't have any obligation to PSFA. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
So like we just do, like we've been doing already, we master planning to an extent, and we're going to lay out future projects, parking lots, how things can work as a layout. It can be for your internal use, we just went and updated it.
Right,
And if we really wanted to, we could get visions and planning. It was a Colleen Martinez that used to do it, she's not anyway. Visions and planning could still stand apart. Architect and all the collaboration we're gonna do by then. So you're gonna have the staff, me, the administration, Mr. Office, the board, everybody will be kind of, by then, we'll be on the same page.
So is there, so in this master plan, previously, of course, we had community involvement as well. We had meetings with the whole group, right? This goes well way back to before we ever started building. So that's the kind of master plan I was,
Is that what you want?
well, I was thinking, because we had some really good input from them.
Yeah.
As far as different direct, now, again, I'm going back well before we even went out for the
That was
GO.
Vaughn.
Right, but it was prior to. So I don't know what that looks like. I mean, I know we did it a long time ago, but I don't know if that's, still this process, if we should continue that process because it was, I thought it was pretty productive. I mean, it gave us some insight.
And that really depends on what y'all want it to look like.
Right. Okay. And then as far as the hourly rates you guys are talking about, there's 4 different options. Are we being supplied with those options before we make an action on it? Oh,
No, not today.
No, oh, not today.
Oh,
not today.
I thought it was-
Because they haven't talked, I wanna make sure,
Oh, okay.
Dusty,
Okay.
Dusty's been in talks with the teachers, staff, kinda like the CTE, is like, where do you want the CTE to go? Like, is there more programs? Do we need to make sure we're not putting a building out there that's landlocked and you can't?
And that's still very preliminary, because once we lock all of that in, then we have to figure out what we want. So CTE, we've been having this discussion. What's the product that we're gonna, what is our product on that? What are the kids gonna know? Is it gonna be a certificate? So we're still researching it with all of the different, organizations.
I'm sorry,
We have lights out here. I think you might be-
the fire in the pool was smoke.
Water, how can it burn?
Huh?
Sorry. That's okay.
We thought it was a drill.
Well, they're supposed to be having training.
You didn't light our pool on fire, did you?
No, let's go to station 2, smoke out station 2,
That's all. Okay.
and do liner.
Right. So my question is, you mentioned these 4 options, and today you're asking for action to agree on an hourly basis.
That's so
Does that do those 4 options, do those hourly
It's for
rates change?
So it'll be our hourly rates, it's the same, I believe it's the same as the CEO's hourly rate, that's not
Okay.
changing. on
So
that.
that's
That's just
you're just asking us for approval to allow you
keep
to
charging
bill
you.
on it.
To keep charging you on an hourly basis.
So, because I believe, Nicole can correct me, I believe like the fee that we had set up at originally was only like 100,000, and I there's like 20,000 left.
Okay.
It's just making sure our travel time that's coming out here, so, and like I said, if you wanna bring in the community and have more of a sit down, what does the community dream that they want the district, we'll be fine.
Okay,
It's just, that's how, where we give over time, because we can't charge you projects.
I understand. Yeah, I just didn't know if we were talking about 4 different options, I didn't know if that meant.
No, we-
4 different hourly rate.
We did that,
options, or-
no, we did that already, the CTV project, we already, the 4 options, but that's for us to expand on those options, to keep digging into it.
Gotcha. And you're not asking to change the rate or anything, it's just the same billable rate that we.
Yeah, it's the same CTV's contract, just make sure you're okay with it going, if we have to go over
Understood. Right.
the money, you're okay.
Yes, sir. Do you guys have any questions about that? Because I was just confused. Do you guys have any questions on the hourly rate or it's the same CEO's contract? It's just allowing them to continue to bill us hourly once this 20.
Nothing's changing.
Nothing's changing, yeah, we're 80,000 out of 100,000 that we already have forward. So once they get past that additional 20,000, then they're no longer, there's nothing to fill, so we have to extra.
And if you could give a good update on that, what that looks like if it goes over the 100,000, just some kind of number attached to it is what I'm asking for. You know, so
We can look at it, we can even set an amount, say, hey, we're gonna set this amount of amounts,
Yeah.
this is our max.
yeah, that way there's
We
no,
can do that.
I don't think a blind approval is very wise, so that way. it's
So I
all-
think what we did, so that $100,000 mark, didn't we set that?
Yes.
You did set that as well.
Okay, all right. So would it be feasible or reasonable to just reestablish that same guideline at $100,000? Because it's been years. I mean, it's been a long time.
Does that mean the 100,000 will start, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, so we basically have 20,000 right now out of the 100,000 we originally approved.
It's already approved.
Right, so once they hit that, if they, they use up that 20,000, well, they're asking to ensure that we're able to continue to bill us at the hourly rate that's provided by CES that they're currently under. But what we did last time, instead of just saying we approve the rates and bill us however many hours, we just said, we approve your hourly rate up to $100,000, which this was that was several years ago, if I remember correctly. So, would anybody entertain the idea of, as far as just reapproving an additional $100,000? So that would give us $120,000 blanket. But it's been bunches, several years.
So we started building in 2015.
Right.
So has it taken us 10 years to spend
That's.
that 100?
Yeah, this is different. When we did this, I can't remember.
It was after the first round of building.
Right.
And it's all, and this is the things that aren't covered under another major project.
Right.
So they're covered under the indoor, under the junior high. These are those additional things that they've been doing.
Right.
So I would probably say it's been probably 5 years since we did this. We really have to look back at our numbers, but it's been 4 to 5 years, I think, is what it's been. Maybe just a little bit longer than that. Because I think Mrs. Crawford's been on the 4, so it might have been right before her, maybe 5 years.
I think it was just before me.
Was it? So, I mean, it's up to y'all.
So we have to do this thing 20,000 a year.
Ish, right. And of course, this might go a little bit faster because now this master plan, we haven't done one in a long time, well, since before the bill. So this is updated because our whole campus has changed. Every building, everything has changed completely. So this master's facilities plan, basically started from the ground up in a way, but they've been involved with the bills for so long that they're not having to be educated on what we have. It's been built, like they designed. So, I would suggest it would probably last the same amount of time, if not a little longer. You good? Mrs. Crawford, what do you think? Or is that worth discussion?
Yes, I'm good with that too.
Okay, so we have a motion to approve them to continue working on an hourly basis under the current master planning through CBS agreement on current and future projects. And, is it reasonable to give you $100,000 limit?
Yes.
Is that do you give enough room?
That should give us enough room to work for, especially for master planning.
Right.
We've also used that money for when we did the concept design for the CTE.
Right.
The TN room. So when guys, we've been used that money when project pop up that you want
Right.
to look at, but we don't have a contract.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's what we use.
And you can see how much we've done, how much we've done under that initial 100,000. So, if you guys are okay with that motion, or excuse me, with the way it's listed, and then putting a $100,000 cap on that, I need a motion to approve that.
Okay.
All in there? Ms. Crawford?
Yes, sir.
Okay, perfect.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. That, be reasonable.
Yeah. If
You'll
talk to me again.
Yeah, I bet you you're next.
Did you guys have any other questions, projects?
No? So, Mrs. Crawford, any questions?
No, I'm good, thank you.
And I'll work with Brian and Dusty, we can kind of narrow down some of the master plan we've been looking at.
Right.
Try to present it next board meeting.
And I don't know about y'all, but I've only been involved in one not a long time ago. And I thought the community, just segments of the community had good input,
Yeah.
And it honestly kind of brought them on board,
So they wouldn't know.
Yeah, me and Dusty's actually talked about this a couple times, since I've been here for 10 years, I've actually never had involvement with the community that's prior to me.
Right.
So like you said, it's good to get, especially when you get all these questions coming up from the community, it's good. to
Because
understand,
the last one we did
discuss.
was really more programs.
Yes.
It wasn't really facilities
Right.
coordinated. And
Well,
so,
and if you look back at the way the community was subdivided, that way we do in our campus.
Yeah.
About combining elementary with
Yes,
you
right.
know.
Now that's.
And the pool, and there's all those things that we're well beyond now, and that you
Into
see the
ownership.
outcome, right? Exactly.
And that's kind of one of the things we're looking at right now, is like, is the CTE where we're looking at the best place?
Right.
What do they want I know the whole CTE and oil guys came from the community themselves.
Right.
How far do you guys have expanded, understand all those things?
Perfect.
Right?
Thank you, appreciate that, thank you so much.
Be careful.
You heading back tonight?
Yep.
Jeff, so it looks like it's, is that lightning out?
Yeah, I've been seeing lightning.
No, it's, front, the
Well, I
fireworks
see,
in front
I
of
see those, but there's also lightning.
Yeah, there's lightning.
Yeah.
They're putting out the pole.
the, like, go black, I don't know what's going on. Like, you can see all the notes.
So when is building?
Yeah. We're about to get out people right now.
But yeah, hopefully, man.
Well, that's why I need to call.
Stop, drop, and roll that when you out there.
I have a conference to here, city protection outside. I go sign some pay sheets for work. So that's what we're.
Right. But we have Mrs. Crawford on as well, so we should.
But when they is go.
Yes, sir. All right, so item number 8 is our financial. Mrs. Oliver. There you go.
I have, there's like 2 different packets, one that I didn't also, and one that I just did
Okay.
The first one, the bars, I did really get that in today, and it's that, the GOP library bond. And that one's for $13,965. And then approval for maintenance and transfer bars to eliminate negative balances.
Have we had this GOB library? I think I've never seen that.
Yes, we do have, we usually get like every other year.
Oh, okay. What's the GOB stand for?
It's,
Oh,
general obligation,
yeah, okay, so it's a bond. Oh, is that the one that's approved by
the state.
the state?
Yes, and then we pass it through to our library, which is.
Right. Right, okay. Okay, that's right.
Yeah.
I remember seeing. Do we have any questions over that bar, over $13,965? Mr. Crawford, you good? Any questions?
I do not know.
Perfect, we need a motion to approve that bar and approval for maintenance and transport. Thank you.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Mr. Crawford,
Yes, sir.
you good?
The next sheet is the status of the SB9, so we spent, 43 million, have encumbered 20 million. Leaving our cash balance at 5 million. Our budget does show the 35 million goes, that is our budget, just as our budgeted. Our actuals haven't met our budget, so that's why those numbers are always different.
That's good.
So yeah, like, and of course, we have a $20 million encumbered, and then it's just accounted for. I have like $5 million for each of those projects encumbered. I don't have the entire projects encumbered, just because of the budget we have there, we're always gonna exceed. So I don't ever know, and then plus we have all those investments, so if we do need to pull cash out, we can do that.
Perfect.
Nice. And then the bond, building, we do have, 5 million of that one encumbered, and then the cash is 19.9.
And you know, anytime somebody told me this, I do not understand those two. I don't understand the status of the bond building
So that,
versus the SB9.
so that's that,
Like
The debt service.
Yeah.
the debt service that we collected, you know, like we had to pay those, and we did the bond defeasance.
Right,
And so after those bond defeasance were completed, we were still collecting.
right.
Um,
So over collection.
So the over collection, so to capture all of that, we did that overnight bond payment, so it went into the building,
Which is the 31.
which is the 31,100.
Oh.
So that's all the over collection.
Okay, that's just the over collection.
That's the over
That's a lot
collection
of
after the
people.
total.
Yes.
Mhm.
Gotcha. That makes complete sense.
But our maximum offer did it too.
Right.
That's how much
She tells us.
I know.
So say over collection. that'll be like,
That's her daily with me.
Right.
What was that? She has to explain it to me.
Yes, and we cannot use it for salaries, so.
Right.
That's just for capital improvements.
But that definitely makes the reflection, obviously, if I'm looking at it correctly, basically that adds almost $20 million to our SB9 and automate. Indirect buildings.
Whereas SB9 isn't just buildings, but this one is. This one's just buildings. SB9 is.
Yes,
Absolutely. I mean, all kinds of.
I mean, yeah, I get it.
Not that bond building only.
Yeah.
The SB9 maintenance, everything. Yes. So SB9 is a lot more than things that you.
And then, that next page is the tax collections. So that first, section, this is operational at the top, that is the local tax revenue that we're receiving. This is the 3 months we received $1 million for local tax, and then SB9 is $4 million. And then the next behind that page is debt service. And that is in the negative because there's still taxes, so. And then ed tech services, 7.2. So we're still collecting on that, even though we just did that, the ed tech note that we just did, so we still have some collected in there.
So we're gonna have to do another one of those,
I'm hoping not.
okay.
I mean, we're gonna have to do it like every so often, and we're gonna, so I don't know
How long it was still.
it was covered.
Right.
Because the bond was like, it's basically be a 30-year bond.
Yeah.
So I don't know how long it.
But we,
So we'll have to-
we changed the, we
Yeah.
lowered it down to zero tax.
Is it delinquent taxes people are
I
paying?
think that's what it is. I think these are just back taxes that
Yeah.
collect, should be collected according to our vote.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty low, it's at 1.2, what we collected so far, but I think we captured, by the last ed tech note, I think we captured all of it, but I think we're short like 100, 200,000 or something like that, it's not very much, but I mean, it is, it is.
Right.
I mean, compared to what we
Comparison,
have.
right.
Yeah. And then what was included in your packet is that, what's that? Yeah, I have a, do you have this one? Yeah, I have an extra.
Can't figure out your statement methods.
No, I was just saying, these are backwards. I want to do that.
Yeah, then the fund balances,
I think the printer did that.
yeah, so if you look at the September, on that last page for the ed tech debt service, we did the ed tech note for $7.3 million. So there's gonna be $10 million on this one here, for safe fund balances.
Oh, yes.
If you look on that third page, you can see the ed tech debt service fund. And so that cash balance is 8.2 million, and we just did that ed tech note, and it was for 7.3 million. So we didn't capture all of it.
I mean, it's a good problem to have, I guess. Yeah.
The best thing about it is collected locally. It literally can be an investment forever, and we always have technology for the school. Because a lot of schools struggle with having enough money for technology. And so
Unless
this
they
is
change it
a
back
lot.
to 75% or whatever.
Yeah,
25%.
but then we still have what we have.
Right.
So we can't take it.
Right.
We get, it's not having enough money
Yeah,
for technology.
Because it changes every, yeah.
Yes. We can figure out a way to get it.
Right.
And then there's the October cash sheet. So you can remember that when we had, before we did the, UPS investment, we were getting about close to 600,000, and so with that transfer, we're so healthy, but we're getting about 345.
Okay.
and then that's the, interest where it's getting divided at.
On our UBS stuff right now, I mean, I know it's still really early. We just started with the money, like last month or the month before last, right? Any ideas on the terms or initially?
Yeah, I attached a statement on the last month, and I think it was,
Right, I know that.
I think it was like 300 or I
But I think it was around there.
yeah, it was another one.
Okay, so, which really kind of makes up in an off direction
Yes, that's
from the cash.
Yeah, so the cash sweep went down, but then that interest came.
When it exactly,
So
so it
almost-
basically balances it out.
Yes, yes.
And then there's our checking account balance and.
Do you ever worry about our D balance or our balances in our checking accounts based on like FDIC?
No, we do the cash sweep, so.
So, okay,
Yeah.
right, so it disappears, then
Yes.
it becomes, or pops back up every day. So that protects that FDIC.
And so does that investment remain.
Right,
Protects it too.
it's my first one.
Well, the investment's in a different, the investment's in a different bank, so, yeah.
Does the government shut
I
down?
knew,
Does
sorry,
that affect
sorry.
our investment, yes at all?
I don't think so, no.
These are our investments or something, right?
Yeah.
Like every.
That's all I have for that.
Any of your revision of the manual of controls? Or wait, I
Well, there's the bill list and then,
Oh. We'll get into you, Mr. Ryan.
Okay, well, thank you. We're getting here, sir. Bill, did you guys have any questions?
No, sir.
Mr. Crawford, do you have any questions on the bill list?
I do not, thank you.
Perfect, any motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
I'll say.
All in favor, Mr. Crawford?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Okay, and the procedures.
okay, so I did attach like, in red what I was taking out, and then in bold is what, or, I mean, right above it is, yeah, in bold is what I was replacing it with. So basically, it's just the cash collections portion that we're updating, because we are implementing a new system for fundraising. And so that's what I was just updating, that manual. So the first thing, is that first page is the district requirements for accepting payments. And this is True Success Fund that we're gonna start using. And so what I noticed happening whenever we're doing, fundraising, we notice that people are just Cash App, electronic payments. Well, the school doesn't have anything like that. And so what the parents are having to do is create their own Cash App fund, and it's going directly to them, and then they're having to turn around and withdraw it and put it back in. But there's like a fee that, for that.
Right.
And so the parents are pretty much out of that fee, or they're loaning it against whatever, it's a process, and we don't have any control over that. We don't know what's going in and what's coming out, if it's all getting turned in or not, we don't have access to any of that stuff. So, Lordsburg, I reached out to our business managers, and Lordsburg is doing a success fund, and they said it's worked very well. And so with this success fund, it collects all the money through Venmo, Apple Pay, Cash App, PayPal, credit card, and it all, these little things here that goes with it. And so whenever you, go to our fundraising, we do what? It is a credit card reading, yes, it is. So you go through this website called Success Fund, and you create your approval, because we have paper approval anyways, anytime you're doing a fundraiser. And so you put it all in there, and once it creates it, it has a QR code, it has a website that you can put the link on, it has all these things that you can share to, online stuff, platforms. And so when you pay on there, it goes directly to our account, to our general account. So
There's no fees and stuff like that.
there is fees,
Okay.
yes, the cardholder, or when you do it online, it's a 99 cent for someone to use it, but anywhere else you can use, you have to pay for it. And then, so the district is going to, so Success Fund, whenever you do a fundraiser, there is a percentage that comes out of that as well for, that goes to Success Fund. There's no other fee besides the transaction fee. And so the district is gonna, take that fee to every fundraiser. So it'll show like, this entire campaign, the fee is gonna be $50, well, the district is gonna pick up that fee, from EdTech software.
Right.
So we'll be able to cover that for them, that way it's no cost to the clubs that are doing it.
Yeah, for their fundraiser.
Yeah, and so, so we did go through all the training with the principals and the secretaries, and they loved it all. So there is, I make sure that we included on this payment thing that there's not approved ways to collect money, and that's one of the things there is a personal apps. We're no longer, as in November, personal, nobody can have those personal apps. Yeah.
So you're talking about like currency and cash right now, there's what we done away with and
Yes.
replaced it with.
Yes. Yes.
And then it also
That
pays.
was challenging.
It was very, I know you guys had to do
It's-
that.
And then Venmo, if you get so much coming in, they send it.
Yeah.
And that's,
And we had to report that, and we had to say that it wasn't, I think I said 20.
Yeah.
Information from you.
Yeah.
About how to say it wasn't for us. or
And then our father was tax will protect us from that.
So,
Yeah, it is, and it's very convenient for everybody just to do that, and we just didn't have any control over it, or I'm like, sorry, like that, just, if you're gonna wanna do it, that's the way it's gonna happen.
But people can use their phones with that, just like they would a
Yes.
credit card?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
it's so convenient.
And this also pays the way to cashless gates, we're gonna be doing that.
Yes, so we're gonna roll this out strictly just for the clubs that we have fundraisers, and then see how all of that works, and I'm sure it's gonna work just fine. And then, maybe like come the next school year, then we'll actually go to cashless and should be for fees as well. That's what we eventually wanna go to. We do have the Clover deal, however, it's not as, it's harder to work with than it is the Success Fund, because that's what this is needed exactly. Yeah, so,
so if, let's say, I know this doesn't happen very often, but if let's say the cheerleaders, I'm just pulling them out of a hat, if they were to come around and look for a donation, would they be carrying that device?
they can, yes, or they have the QR code that someone else can take a picture of it, like they can have it on their phone, show the QR code, and then, hey, I do want to donate. So the good thing is, you don't have to create an account, say that, I'm fundraising and you want to donate, and you just scan the QR code and it takes it right to that place and you make the payment, so you don't have to create a password, a login, it's just a straight, transaction.
Just like using a cash out or
Yes.
any of those, really, you
Yes.
just scan their code and say
Yes.
$50.
Mhm.
Okay, nice. That's
Okay.
great.
Yeah, so it's really good, and so we're trying to, stray away from cash. Of course, we're gonna accept cash for the, probably for the rest of the school year, just because everybody to get used to all the deals. But it's gonna work out better, and then, Success Fund will do on a weekly basis, they deposit that cash in our account. And then it has a report of, what money goes to where.
Okay.
So whenever say that, baseball is doing their fundraiser, they're able to log into Success Fund and then look at how much, their campaign is doing, for all those campaigns. So right now, like, I have one and it's in the ice chess board, and it's basically like a calendar, and so, you go in there, select what you want, and, I want an $11 slot, add to cart, and then there it is, like, you just pay it out. And then, like if we're, like senior batch is gonna be in there, so they have this, and it will link to so each one of these have their own iPad, so it's full iPad. So they're able to, you know, link them together, like, yeah, I want this or that, and it'll work for concession as well. And then okay, well, can I gotta use this?
I can see.
Yeah, or they can use their own personal marketing.
Right, and if they were, I know, I'm not saying we do this right now, but let's say the senior batch is collecting or cheerleader, whatever. Will it acknowledge, can you get a list of the donors, so you can say, hey?
Yes.
send them a thank you,
Yes,
or something like that, I mean, is it easily, is it?
Yes, it does have,
Better than track
it does have, the results. But yes, they can actually log in and look at who, who's made the donations, or, you know, like if you have, if every one of those kids, hey, you have to sell $30 of square tickets or whatever, it'll list each, okay, this person raised this much, this one raised that much. And so I know he was excited about that, because he's like, I don't ever know who did what.
Right. Oh, good, that's good.
So they'll have results on it as long as people enjoy it.
Nice.
So, the same things are, you know, they still have 24 hours to return cash. That same with us in that code. But it's basically not approved anymore as a personal accounts, personal accounts.
Yeah, it'll strengthen all the other sides.
That's a computer thing, yeah. I thought it was too.
I mean, I'm gonna school now.
That's pretty much on the direction, it's just that the fundraising and, but we're not able to accept any more of those personal acts.
Yeah, that's pretty smart.
So they're not.
Yeah, you got more opportunities.
I was gonna say, you have like 4 more kids than we do.
So, since this is fundraising, is this an actionable item? Does it require board approval?
Well,
It does, because it's on the manual procedures.
yeah, because it's the procedure.
Makes sense.
Yes.
Makes sense, okay, that makes sense. You guys
I was
have-
just letting you know about Success Fund and why we're changing.
And why,
Right,
right, okay,
yes.
right, no, I makes sense, I was just like, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know if it was informational or actually action, but it makes sense, it's a procedure manual.
It also clears the way for electronic collections even again.
Right, I think, Mrs. Crocker, do you have any questions on that?
No, I don't have any questions, but I don't do that sort of thing very often. Only when my kids are around and help me through it.
Right.
But we were at a Texas Rangers game not long ago, and for sure, the league comes around with one of those QR codes and doing a 50-50 raffle, and somebody won $20,000 at the end of the day. So
Wow.
just from scanning, and JT's like, Mom, it's a big deal, it's everything. Like,
Who are
I didn't know JT had to know. Because it's so easy, you just give them $10 or whatever.
Right.
Anyway, but yeah, so, yeah, it's a great idea.
Perfect. You guys have any questions yourself? No? Perfect. Well, based on that, then we do need a motion to approve the revision of manual procedure. On favor, Ms. Crawford, you good?
Yes,
Perfect.
yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nicole.
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely.
I just got a text that you did not do that cancel you want me
Oh, no.
when they were on it.
Oh, you enjoyed that.
It's like,
No, you
you're not going to the game, sir? No, but it's plenty more days. I'm supporting right here. I was like, I have a board meeting today. Hello?
All right, sorry. Okay, item number, old business. Wait, why, hold on a second. Why don't we move this tonight, but, I know it's late in the thing, but we're still under old business, ongoing business. Let's just drop down to C, because we're in the category anyways. Not with Mr. Michael's.
And that's good about having those, that's good about having those letters.
Right. Mr. Meyer.
So, you guys have some property, let me give you a map here. It's over east of First Street. You'll have two lots over there, and it's adjacent to the Bustamante's pins. If you look on block 28, it's lot 17 and 16. And Brian can tell you that's kind of been as unimproved. Yeah. It has been some issues with, some issues with code enforcement in the past. It is kind of run up again. So, but myself and Mundo Bustamante are interested in leasing. And what we would do is improve it, clean it up, fence it in, and we would use that for livestock over there. So if you're interested in that, we'd like to entertain from you guys what it would take to go into a lease with that. And answer any questions.
So lot 18 is that you said Mr. Bustamante?
That's, so he has 18, 19.
Okay, so yes, that's all, and yes, 15, 14,
Yeah. So yours are
16,
16 and 17. 15 and 14 belong to. Yeah,
but they're not, there's nothing.
No, there's nothing there.
There's not, no structure.
We do not have any intention of living, having like RV, nothing like that. It's just strictly for livestock, on these pins. Obviously, one of those, the coverage you got over here is hay under. So,
This is personal.
this is.
You're recommending something specific.
No, this is all personal.
You're all in uniform.
We've already,
We've already.
I'll take the blame for everything else.
They all very central over here.
Not this time.
So let me ask you this, and I'm sure you already know that. Zoning is okay for.
It is already zoned residential B ranch,
Okay.
which would allow us for livestock. Yeah. It's already good.
Is there any concern?
No, the only concern, the only thing that I've had in the past, when the city tries to code enforce it, is I send them a letter back saying that it's unimproved land.
Right.
I mean, I do not have, I mean, it's full, it's not, I need that mode. That's the only concerns if they make it, put pins and everything on it, then do we have to keep it up if they don't release it? I see. Or can it return to unimproved, like, cause right now, zero maintenance, and I don't want maintenance over there.
Right. So
That's my
opinion. And I know you're here for a different reason, but obviously, because part of that component of the city, what would that look like for us in the future, or can you ask that?
I can't honestly answer that, but I would say to you as the entity, would say, hey, the lease obligation is over with, we're gonna return that back to unimproved. Okay. That's what you ask.
Yeah, and other than that, it's just sitting there, nothing is done with it, it's peanuts. And I say, nice to see somebody do something.
Well, I get that, I just wanted to, like I
Yeah.
said, though, if it, once it becomes improved,
Then we can
we-
pull their lease and put it use it.
I got a question. Are you gonna run water from Bustamante's already existing, or are you gonna put the water?
It will have the existing.
Oh.
And are we,
So that way we're
Right.
responsible for the meter.
right, that's.
Yeah, and we're gonna put power there, that the meter will be on there.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's all a discussion, of course, we have not, obviously, we never together with this.
Right.
So, right. So it's, we have something, it's not like that's, yeah.
So that would be a discussion with you guys and see if you are interested, then you can do it.
a lease. Now, the time, some of it would be a whole involved, everybody, so they're not interested in any kind of, to lease it, if you guys can just. If you guys are kind of on the city, we don't.
Right. Right. So, is it time sensitive or?
No.
Okay, yeah. So, obviously, right now, next meeting. So it'd be 17. I don't know that way, so, is that?
That's fine, that's fine. I knew tonight was just a discussion,
Okay,
and we do not have a deadline, or there's nothing pressing. It's just, it would make it a little more convenient for us for, yes, they're trying to do it.
understood, right? I mean, obviously, whatever interest, what we're talking about right now, it's just a matter of, making sure we're in compliance with obviously.
I understand formalities.
Right, and then, coming up with, Mr. Snyder said we only have one current lease, so we have to, we need to account for about cost and such.
Right.
But I think that's all a reasonable discussion.
Correct.
We can make it, Mr. Snyder, you will visit again.
Yes.
Kind of external terms or whatever you guys have in
We were
mind.
like, yeah, I just wanted to make sure you guys knew and were even interested in doing it.
Right.
And if there is, then I'll pursue it for you guys to discuss further.
Right, Mrs. Crawford?
Yes, sir.
Sorry. Do you have any questions regarding this discussion?
No, no, it sounds good. It sounds like we already ventured into that a tiny bit before.
Right.
I have a problem with it.
Okay, perfect. So then, yeah, Mr. Snyder, we're gonna sit and visit and
Yes.
come up with comments or ideas and we can put it as an action item on our next meeting.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you guys for your time.
Thank you for your
Thank
patience.
you.
Okay, all right.
You sure you don't just want to hang out the whole meeting, sir?
No, I have to do that other times, you know.
Next Monday.
We're almost done.
Thank you. We'll come out. Yeah, so we're good. That was, yeah, I think that's a reasonable discussion. Item A, housing quotes for our duplexes. Mr. Schneider, I didn't have one, so he first got one.
Okay, yeah, we have a new
We're
one
not
there
doing
for you.
this.
And those are the same ones that you've had before, but it was the duplex options, and the reason why I want to go back over this is, I talked to the city, they said that those are zones for housing. Would we be interested in doing individual housing, because they're not set up, the lots are not set up for duplexes, like the piece that we already had, because the Woolworth originally was gonna possibly put apartments or duplexes there. Woolworth.
But
Woolworth
was it
decided
zoned,
not to.
but was it zoned any different? or
Yes,
was it set up differently?
it was set up and zoned differently, because they thought Woolworth was gonna put something in there. From the get-go, it was not designed as individual housing units. It was designed for what it is, with the duplexes, one apartment, what we already had. Now, this other was set up all housing. There is
So
no.
what-
Single family home.
What does that mean? What is that, what changes in infrastructure?
So what changes is they would have to redo the sewer and the connections, and they have to redo some of what's underground, but not anything on the streets. So what it becomes is the city willing to sign it over, and it's, I don't know, they're talking about city council. If they are, then it has to go through zoning commission to get rezoned, because it's only housing the way they did. They don't know if they're going to, because everybody else is trying to put houses in there. I'm just saying that there's no way else,
Two of the cities.
but there's no way to know whether the city would even go for it if we could get the land from it. All I'm getting at is it's possible, but we're looking at months and months and months here. And I'm just getting, I'm almost getting exasperated. We gotta get something going on.
So
the housing.
what's the option? What are you asking?
What I'm asking is if we can just put a house somewhere. Does it have to be that right now? If y'all wanna develop that, I'm all for it, but man, give me some time to develop that. If we can get that from the city and then get the zoning and then have meetings and, but their council and the school board, you're talking about months-long processes. Once the school board approves it, then it goes to the city council. And then it comes back to us, maybe then it could go back to them for, then we do a zoning variance, once we get the lots, if we get the lots.
So let me ask
It's
you
just
this.
not just our decision.
Right, I get that. I would be interested, and I'll be be honest, I'm kind of, do we have any proof of what we're being told right now? In other words, is there anything they can give us that says that these you are currently using, this is how they were built, this is how they were designed, and they are zoned
Yes.
Is there
There are
documentation?
There are covenants right over there. Yes, there is.
Okay,
I know because I have to have a zoning variance, and the first thing they ask is there any existing covenants? So you call Lee County, they say which blocks have covenants, those do. They do have existing, like Hillcrest does. There's not very many streets in
so,
town that has
I apologize.
covenants are like rules, what you can have and can't have, like single family, square footage, brick.
Okay,
All those things are in place down there where they're not in those.
so they weren't in place in the area that we wanted to, that we developed?
No, they were, it was zoned for what we did already. What we did was multi-duplex.
So did they do that, did they take out the covenant and rezone that prior to us ever doing it?
Yeah, we weren't even involved at the time. It was Woolworth that was gonna do it. So they cleared the path for Woolworth to do it, to put what they wanted on that rectangle.
Right.
So it was the infrastructure was built for a multi-unit. It wasn't built for single unit housing like the other is. Does that make sense?
Right.
So when we
I'm not
did
trying
it-
to say I don't trust them, but.
No, but they did that on purpose
Okay.
to accommodate what Woolworth had kind of thought about planning. And they said, well, we'll leave that block there for apartments, or that was way before the school was even,
Right.
you know, right after we signed it over, when they started doing their streets and planning, they planned it into with Matt White, actually. Is the one. That way you'll know the history. It's been years before the school was involved.
Right. So basically then what you're saying is, so for right now.
Yeah,
it's
just
out of
something
the
right
option As far as the duplex.
I think one duplex will get us where we need to be. I've also talked to youths to see where they're at. I was just curious because they're in the same housing situation basically.
You said we can't do a duplex.
Yeah, so anyway, there's 17, you're, yeah, I'm getting older, I get really older on this one. We have 17 units to save on 23 right now. They're beating us in the housing rates, but that's their school district. Where we're headed. But, so what it basically means is that if we do a duplex, it gets us covered, which is a unit that makes two houses.
Right.
A duplex.
We said we can't do that because they're not zoned.
So we couldn't there, but if we had a lot somewhere, Second Street, if we bought a lot on Second Street with the other school houses, we could put another one in, a duplex version of what's already there on Second Street.
So that is zoned and or
It's already-
infrastructure for a duplex?
Yes.
In a place
Because,
that there's never been a duplex?
yeah, because it's two that you put into one on one lot. But you can't, but see, this is the thing. So you can put modular housing is what we want down there. You can't put the kind of housing we're wanting to put, because it has to be brick. You cannot brick the other kind that we have on Second. So we have, so if we do a duplex, it's not modular housing, okay? It's a duplex. So over there, right now, they have all kinds of covenants, which means brick.
When you say over there, you mean over?
Over on that new spot, yeah. The new spot has brick, has to be modular to brick. So on Second Street, there are no such rules. You can put a mobile home there. You can put a modular there if you want to, or you can put a duplex unit. Then you can brick the front of it like we did on those other houses. You can make them match what's already there. You can do it however little or much as you want on Second Street, whereas you're boxed in what you can and can't do. Even if they were to change it, you'd have to have it brick. But brick it, you have to do modular. To do modular, you see what, and there's like different rules that apply when you're gonna brick.
I guess where I'm lost is, I thought you were saying that at the old elementary,
Uh-huh.
that the infrastructure, the sewer and such.
That's right.
That is our Perry-Weather athletic lightning detection system.
Yeah.
It
Oh,
sounds,
I'm like, man, somebody's screaming.
For me, it's like-
it sounds when lightning is within a certain distance.
So what I'm saying is Second Street has a lot less problems that we don't have to iron through with the city to get the stuff clear. Now, the city is probably willing to do it. I don't know what they're willing to do or not to do, but it's a months-long process to get the city and the school board and get it all out of it. Not saying it's impossible, because we made those look so beautiful, why wouldn't we? They probably would.
Right.
But in the meantime, just to get us where we have some kind of little cushion there on the housing, something we can do, like one or two, even one, whatever we had talked about. So if we had talked about let's do a single unit, well, you can do two-bedroom duplexes that do this together. And then you have two more housing units instantly. Whereas down there, the elementary is more long, drawn out, expensive process.
So it's not an infrastructure, but you're saying that the septic, what you said, that the septic would have to be redone and the sewer or that.
Yeah, that would have to just be modified to accommodate duplex units, which is possible.
But yeah, but on Second Street, it doesn't, that's so old, how does it not have to be modified for a duplex?
I don't know, all utilities are already there, so I don't know, I guess you just do two sewer tie-ins, it's like you would, the house has one, the house is there, it's not as big of a deal to get it all tied in as the elementary one is because of the covenants too. So we can go, they got brand new infrastructure down below the ground. And they've already got the tie-ins for houses in those lots underground. So they could probably accommodate it. I mean, I'm sure. They just said it's more complicated to do. And they have to get approval through the process of getting us the lot and then getting it rezoned after we get it. They can't really rezone it until we get it, and then they can rezone it.
And if they not do that,
I don't know. I don't know. I can't speak for them.
right, no, I understand.
Yeah, I don't know what
process.
I don't know what their process, and they had a few questions, but I'll be at the Monday meeting. Anyway, for another business, and there's some golf thing, other stuff. So it'd be good for them to ask questions, but first, I just need to see where y'all are, because we can go ahead and pursue that down there, but it's gonna take a lot longer. And I don't know what we'll need by August, that's what I'm concerned about.
So you're saying that the whole elementary side would take a whole lot longer to accomplish than on Second
Then
Street?
Second Street, it's all the utilities are already set in there on Second.
Potentially take longer. I mean, it's gonna take a little bit longer, but not, we don't know if it's gonna take a lot longer
It's a,
or a little bit longer.
yeah. There you go, it's the unknown.
Yeah, right. And now, when we're talking about utilities though, there's utilities at both sites, right?
Yeah, there is.
Right, so utilities aren't really an obstacle, right? It's more of the zoning issue.
I wish Dan was still here, because he was telling me about the sewage is different. It's set up for individual house units.
So like, I can't imagine that it wouldn't be set up.
Or why you couldn't just do another tap, that's my question.
What I'm saying is, we've never had duplexes in Rhode Island and Jowl, so I don't know why they were, those lots on Second Street are 60, 70 years old, right? That they would be set up for a duplex. You think they would have the same individual, single-family home?
But they're set up for sewer taps, I mean, I don't know why you couldn't live down there too.
Well, that's what I'm saying, so they're set up for sewer already there.
I don't know what.
Right.
I have no idea what they're talking about, other than they said it can be done, but they have to do it.
Right.
But I don't know.
You going through the day there, you know, that.
Yeah, I think
Or
it's.
on Second Street, probably, yeah. I mean,
Well, see, yeah, because it is paved on both sides and there is no alley.
Right.
Whereas in Second Street, there's an alley on both sides. So I don't, it could have something to do with that. I don't know, that's what I'm saying, I don't know.
And
It's
when we're looking at the houses,
Mhm.
So these aren't the quotes that we would be using, right?
No, because the other houses would have to be the duplexes that butt up to each other.
Right.
You know, it's a different one than either one of these.
It's basically a manufactured home that is just.
Looks like the ones on Second Street.
Right.
So
they're
would
just-
would they be connected to a single tap? On those?
No,
They each have their own utilities. They're coming out of each side of it, but the thing is,
That's the difference.
the thing about them
This
is,
on Second Street, if each of them have a tap, each of them have their own tap as a duplex, right? So they each have their own sewer, own water, their own water, they're separate. But I can't imagine that on Second Street, which is by far, one of the oldest infrastructures around here, that those would be capable of handling a duplex or style, and then the brand new infrastructure we couldn't just put them right, that they wouldn't just be just as easy to tap into.
Well, I don't know about the pavement situation. I don't know enough about their utilities on how they have them set up.
Right.
There's no alley.
Yeah.
So they may already be on the street. I just don't know. I don't know. They just told me it was different on the utilities. And then Second Street has the old alleys that are dirt. You can just dig under and put 2 taps or 2 water. You know, because like over here at the school, we've added sewer and water and all kinds of taps that they just dug in the dirt.
Right.
In fact, when they paved it, they went through and added additional infrastructure for future housing. So like mine was just an empty lot. They added infrastructure there, even though I'm not using it, for the empty lots, so they never have to dig up the alley. So I don't know. I'm sure that has something.
So
to do with it.
so,
I don't know what they're gonna do or approve or so on.
well, we don't have any quotes for the other homes right now. So it's not really actionable. We don't have any.
No, it's
information
not.
on that.
No, that's why I need to go an update to see.
Right.
Because your direction to me was to go make it look like the ones down there,
Right.
and we'll just do one for now.
Right.
That's what I was-
With two, I mean, one, but it's 2 units.
But my concern is the time that's going to do that.
So.
We can still pursue that.
Right, and I think we just need information before we decide to abandon that. We need definitive information from the city to say, this is really what we're looking at. And then the other piece is the lots that are down there right now. We don't own those lots right now anyways, right?
No.
Right, so that's so that's adds to the process, we have to purchase that lot. Right?
Yes.
So, again, it's not like we own it and we can just say we're gonna jump on it. We still have to-
There's still a process, but either way.
Right. So I think we could, I'm just thinking out loud for me, I think we just maybe work towards both options and see which one hands out, maybe.
Which one is the quicker option, or based on the city's reaction?
Right.
I don't know.
If we want to get that on there.
It's whatever y'all want to do, I just know it's coming, we need the housing.
So in their meeting.
I think we can go and get that
It's
on their
Monday.
agenda,
Yeah,
because
it's Monday.
it's really close.
Yeah, it's.
Is it not on there, or maybe?
I honestly haven't seen their agenda, so I don't even know what's on.
I don't either.
Because I was intending on going.
Yeah, because we gotta go anyway.
Yeah, but I haven't seen their agenda, so.
But you see what I mean, sometimes it bounces back and forth between, because you can't do it outside board meetings. So it's, sometimes it bounce back and forth for 3 or 4 months before we even get everything lined up, you know? And so that's what I don't know, I don't know. Right now, there is one person that was in line with their buying house in Seminole because he couldn't find it. And so that was the theater teacher. And so that's not a pressing issue anymore, but I don't know what will be. It's on the horizon, I just don't. It's scary because I have no idea. I mean, it could be, what if somebody leaves that is in a house already? We don't have to worry about it.
Right.
You know, and that's why I'm saying it's just so unknown with the housing. It's always just been keep it up and try and have one extra. That's all I'm gonna do. Until it levels out and we don't need it anymore, which would be great because at some point it's gonna have to level out where if someone moving, then we just replace them with someone else moving. There won't be another, you know.
Yeah, I totally get that. The need for teachers. I think my thought is on the next meeting, if we can have some quotes for this, for the other option as well. But I really think that we need to aggressively pursue the city and say, if we move this way, we'd like to know a fast track. I mean, I can't imagine that they can't assist us.
So,
in that.
Jody Baker is working on the city unit too. Jody Baker, the guy who sells the houses, the modular, you know, the home spot guy. Yeah, he is working on the city on what it would take additionally, and he's still working with
To do the
City manager.
What are you speaking of?
on the elementary. The elementary, it's nothing. I mean, it's already done. It's how can we modify what's there, and what will it take, and what kind of housing unit would it look like? Like he's trying to determine the need for those lots to fit it as closely to what's there, you know, on the zoning.
Right.
And then that way we would only have to get a slight variance, not like totally redo all their lines and stuff, you know, like where we could still fit something on what they're talking about within reason. It probably would still require, because they're single unit housing only, that's zoned there, it's supposed to be there on that new, you know, that. And, you know, so pretty much Second Street has no limits, anything goes, well, I mean, you know, anything really all. But down there, they put all kinds of covenants. So they want to make sure also that they're able to do that, and if we can kind of keep it within the boundaries, when you can drive by there, and it's not gonna look like a sore thumb, and you're wanting them to buy a $400,000 house right next to it. But they already know we're gonna do something nice.
Well, yeah.
I mean, look what's there, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
So that's where I like that option too down there. But in the name of time, or I don't know if we would want to do a Second Street thing and something there. They should do both options, but maybe one at a time. That's what I'm trying to say. Like maybe pursue both options, but what you guys had told me last time is pretty much only pursue the open option. So I was just thinking, can we pursue both of them and see which one pans out quicker? Yeah, I don't know. I just want to asking.
So when he was here, he did show us some drawings, right, of the other options.
I think we did, but no prices on it.
Yeah,
we did see that.
But there was several different ones, they didn't, I couldn't. remember which one.
I was working through that, so I think that because that guy didn't know what Joey does.
Right, yeah, it was very, so. What do you guys, think? Mr. Crawford, what do you think as far as, I think maybe just pursue or at least investigate further both options and just see if one makes more sense than the other next meeting?
I agree, yeah, I don't have a problem with that, pursuing both options, but I'm not leaning towards being pressed for time
Right.
to make a rash decision.
Right, there you go, that's what.
Okay, I think that's reasonable too. So, yeah, it's just, we need to gather as much information as we can, as quickly as we can. And I think we need to have a sit down with the city manager, even, with a couple of us and him and yourself, I mean, and just say,
And I can put that, and we'll always meet with him.
yeah, what does this look like? What's it fast track?
Yeah.
Capable and,
And I might can get some options for y'all and some, after we research it a little more, and that way you can kind of see what's out there, what's available.
yeah, and
What they can do, what we can do.
Yeah, we also need some better accounting.
I'm definitely leaning towards the elementary side because it is
Yes.
looking
So pretty.
so nice.
Yes.
It's just really improving that whole neighborhood.
100%.
It looks very, very nice.
I think in the
But
future,
anyway, I will entertain it for sure, whatever our needs are and whatever we can make happen, for sure.
okay, good.
And definitely if this, gentleman will get us some options on the, because we know what we're looking at the elementary side, right?
Yes.
We know what we bought before and what it looks like and such, but we're unfamiliar with what we would put on Second Street.
Exactly, and what I'm basically, and as far
It's
as,
such a hodgepodge already.
and as far as district data, what I'm looking at is the percentage of employees at each campus that are locals. Because you look at the high school, not many, it's a low percentage of locals, like 20, whereas the elementary is almost flip-flop. But in the coming years, we're gonna see that. So what it tells me is there will be a demand for housing just to accommodate what's going on at elementary whenever it starts turning. And then eventually we'll level out where whoever's moving is gonna be a position that probably won't be somebody from the town. But there's still gonna be a level of that, where we've got elementary teachers whose husbands work in the coal field, we make a house. That kind of thing. But as we level that out, we'll eventually just reach that saturation point where we won't need anymore. That's the whole Lord Road goal. That's what we want. We want to just keep feeding the monster. We want it to level out at some point. That's kind of how I feel about it, if you guys do. So.
Amen.
Yeah, I know, because it's like at some point you're going, oh my gosh.
So that'll be our movement then, is let's see if we can aggressively information gather for both sites. What the home would look like, definitely get some numbers on the homes that we would put on Second Street, if that was the option. Because right now, we don't know what those numbers look like.
Yes, and that's why I wanted you guys to know, because then you won't be like, hey, I thought we thought about the old elementary site, why are you telling us Second Street? No, wait, no, I want y'all to know, this is where we're at.
Maybe between now and then, we can even have a conversation with their city leadership and say, guys, this is our idea, this is where we're at.
We will make it look beautiful.
And fast track, yeah, you know, we understand it's in between meetings, you can't, especially when you could, if you want. But let's see, if we can get that on the agenda for not only city council, we're going to the zoning, we can get our zoning approved also on the same meeting. They hold their city meetings and zoning meetings at the same time.
So they can do a city meeting and approve it, and then zoning meeting and approve it. So,
Right, it's awesome, it is awesome.
but I don't have next week.
Looking,
And maybe start it on.
okay, perfect. Any questions left on that, any other direction you guys would like to look? Perfect. Mr. Crawford, Ms. Crawford, you good?
I'm good, thank you.
Perfect, thank you. Can we take a half-second break so I can go?
No.
Real quick.
Please, me too.
Any coffee, dude?
Oh, I might need some coffee, honestly. I might take some.
Maybe it will.
Carolina, you want?
Nothing.
Okay. Yes, no. So, what was it? It's on the notes, it said compressor.
Yeah, and so there's a freon leak and
On the record?
on the pull pack.
Oh.
And I think in combination with the back compressors, the plastic melted. And it just, because the pool pack was still running, it just took that smoke that was up there and shot it through the ventilation into the pool.
What did it do? Were we have smoke on the water?
Pretty much.
Did you get a picture of it?
What they supposed to take a picture. But no, I didn't think about taking a picture. Yeah, right. I didn't even think, but when I got over there, it was just like the whole inside was just smoked out.
It was a pump, Jim?
It was it's the pool pack.
Yeah.
Yeah, it freon leak and maybe a back compressor on the pool pack, and it melted some plastic, and it was the smoke from the plastic that just shot through the ventilation.
Did the system work? Did the system shut? Did the fire alarm system go off?
No, there was, Priscilla was there with Adult Swim,
Oh,
and it started smoking in the middle of Adult Swim. And so she called Taylor, and then Taylor called Nick, see if they could go check it out. And so that's how it all kind of transpired there.
Well, I'm glad somebody was there, 'cause
Yeah, right.
That could have got that.
Yeah.
I bet they got scared.
But she's gonna put in a service call with the radio.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Since he's coming to review on cool stuff to see what next step we need to do. But we're gonna cancel Adult Swim until we have it looked at. Just for peace of mind, safety.
Can you tell Mrs. Crawford we were taking a restroom break?
Yes.
She's there.
I think she's there.
He's awesome.
Okay, it's
There you go.
almost eight.
I know, we're not kidding.
I'm trying, Mrs. Crawford, I'm
This is a
trying.
low on this.
I know, this is acting, I think ever.
I know. It is not my fault. It's my point of view, it's not my fault.
You're right, I can't blame you this time.
Yeah, I don't care.
So,
You want one, sugar?
Randy's.
Well, you already.
He said we can have one.
Is there any reason?
No, sir.
They'll even define it too.
He's gonna come over in his truck.
But they want
He
them
did
to.
it in his truck. No, you look so bad right now.
Are you frozen?
You know what? The original author of this recipe says you can.
And sometimes I'm like, man, I just want some for later, not all tonight, because they're good fresh after 2 or 3 days.
Actually, James Juniors.
Would you like one?
No, listen, I still have some at home I have to do here
Jim, you
tomorrow.
don't want a sugar cookie. You want one sugar? They're really. You want one?
No.
And so,
Yes, you do.
I tried to stop her.
I went over there and I see 3 of them in like 2 seconds. I'm so worried about you.
Good.
I said, the road rats are gonna be.
I know.
I
See that truck out there?
So, yeah, I
That's
told
my
you.
office,
Locked in the toilet.
told you.
I go everywhere, and, it's got a whole back seat that's empty. It can sit there.
We locked in the toilet.
I'm about another long day tomorrow, probably. Like, I guess I don't know.
All right, letter B, district housing policy. This is our second reading. No, they just got stuff.
I think there are enough in there, but.
Yeah. So obviously, our first reading, we took a look at this, so this is, I mean, we all had discussions as far as we can see it like the schedule of circles. Other employees, is that, something you wanted to keep in there? There was some question as several months ago, we talked about, the escalation of rates, you know, our rent and such, but I don't think it actually ever made it in to the policy, is that right, Mr. Snyder?
So it is down at the bottom on the middle.
That's in the process, like year 1, year 2, year 3, is that when we discussed just here recently?
Yes, we did add this. Okay. Yes, we did as suggested at the very bottom on the refund rate.
I just wasn't sure if that was the rate we initially decided to amend it to just.
Yes, it was, because it used to be at 800, well, no, still maxes out at 800.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
I thought we increased.
I don't know, that's what you got, this is what y'all want to do.
Or caps out at 800, it takes it for 20 years.
And then whenever they were, yeah, it was just,
It was all discussion, right? Yeah, that's what I thought. I didn't think it actually made it into,
no.
What we did is just quantify and write in what the current is. Yeah, that's all, there's nothing. Depends on what you guys think.
So, the way it's set up right now, and I don't know, Mrs. Crawford, I don't know if you have this in front of you. Do you have that staff housing policy with you?
I don't, I suppose it was in the
Yeah, and it,
packet from the night before.
I just sent you a picture of it.
Okay.
On the front page with who's in every house, so that way you know.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
The way the rental rate is listed right now is the first 3 years is 500, year 4 is 6, year 5 is 7, and year 6 is 8. So, I correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought we had discussion as far as increasing the rent at a little more rapid rates.
Yes, y'all talked about making it where it's not just 3-year static.
Yeah.
That it starts at 5, goes to 6, goes to 7, like 1, 2, 3. Instead of 3 years exposed, then it goes up.
Right, right, that's what I thought.
Let me see if you-
Now, I know when we discussed that also, there was some discussion as far as how to implement. So in other words, their housing contracts, is it July 1 to June 30th every year?
Yes.
Okay. So
It falls into school year, their contract.
their contract, right. So if we were to make a change even tonight, it really would not impact till July 1, right?
Yes.
That way, like,
That way you're not.
yeah, we don't want to impact, just, by the way, next month your rent is $200 more or whatever. Now, the other thing is if we did the 5, 6, 7, every year $100 up to, I don't know that we should have a year 6. I mean, so right now we have year 6 at 800, but I know it's just a goal, but I think we should kind of keep it at 5 years.
Mhm.
And in that amount of time, I mean, we can always extend, and that's not an issue. But we can just keep it at a 5-year rate, so they kind of can project, hopefully 5 years. In a perfect world, they might be able to find something. It just gives them, a little more of a direction and a purpose.
And there is one on the 50 year.
Like for them to buy.
Yeah,
Right
exactly.
now, it's not an option.
It's not even an option. I agree.
Yeah.
But, you
I
know,
think that's a good plan too, just so it's not unlimited forever.
yeah, it's just not a perpetual thing.
Yeah.
So here's the question I have. Even the year 6 amount that we have it currently, I feel like compared to other houses, that's really cheap.
It is.
When can we
Which
expect
is very
somebody?
cheap, and when you're being very well compensated more than anybody in the state in your position.
Right.
Yes.
Well, my
So.
My second
Looking
part
at the
to
big
that.
picture.
We're talking over each other.
My second part to that was, at what year of teaching here can we reasonably expect somebody to go from this small amount to a much higher amount to get their own house?
Right.
That's my,
So if we did it,
The
if,
mortgage.
yeah, if we started it off at 500, now, by year 5, it would be at 900, right? Which is still very, very reasonable. We do have the option to escalate it a little bit faster. I mean, we could, I see exactly where you're going with that. I just get nervous with it. I'm afraid that,
You know, push them out. and then-
yeah, and
Where do they go?
now, I don't know where else you would go for 5 or 6 or $700 a month. You're never going to, right? But on the other hand, it does make it a little more,
Of an
of
incentive.
an incentive.
Because if you're never incentivized to move out, you will never
You will
move.
never move.
But then also, if you're even incentivized to move out, you still can't find anything. We can leave flexibility there, but at least kind of shove them like the bird down to the next one. Okay, that's kind of
I
time
mean,
to find
we always have the ability to be amendable.
Which it does say in here, after, has how many years, and then it says after that, based on district needs. Basically, what that means is if we don't buy more houses and somebody comes in, you gotta go.
Right.
That's basically what it already is built in.
Good, absolutely.
And that's where,
But really, the way.
Well, how do you kick somebody out of this one?
Well, you probably would.
Exactly.
so you're basically, let's get rid of our sped teacher or our culinary teacher, for instance. I mean, how would you do that? We got a high school math teacher, but their housing is gonna, I mean, I don't know, I'm just saying, I don't know where
That'll
it's a
probably
slippery,
be there.
slippery slope is what it is. I just.
Yeah, for sure, and the big picture is you're hoping they will
Yes.
find a way to stay within our district because of the rest of the benefits, not just a cheap housing situation.
Right. I mean, you're right. We definitely give a lot of incentive to work here. I know.
Right.
I mean, between salaries, benefits.
And the housing is what pushes it over, but we have 2 3-year teachers now that said if it wasn't for the housing, they still could not, they wouldn't be here. Because they are not, and there are teachers here that some of our best ones are not interested in living here.
Right.
At all, ever. I'm just saying, they're just honest with me, and I don't really like that, because I think that's the best place to live, it's a paradise in the middle of nowhere. That's just me.
that's a stretch.
That's just my 50 years.
Those are those words of lessons.
I love it here.
It's just
reality.
Reality is, this is a place to work.
Right.
And it's a good place to work.
Really good, amazing how many people out Northville don't even know it's a town.
Right.
It's a man.
Oh,
It is, I am not kidding.
so I'll tell you what, if you Google it, it says Harvey Park.
Yes, it does.
It did that long as
That's all somebody.
No, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, Harvey.
Well, you know, I've been here for 50 years, it's not this one.
All right.
It's a shame for
It hits me right there.
It does, me too. We're from.
You've been outside of town.
No,
No, that's fine.
I do, but then I race back.
Like if you go and you look at the, like you're saying, like you said, they don't want to, like, they don't have a reason to live there other than for work,
Right.
right? We push them away from cheap housing, they got to pay. But it's, let's say they move to Seminole, Landry, Hobbs. They're still not helping Jack,
Right.
they're just working. They're getting paychecks, they're getting on, then they leave, you know, so.
Yeah, just
This
think
is
all those
their
people
incentive
that
to
work
stay,
there,
this
that's
is
what
their
they're doing.
incentive for us to have.
That's right.
Really?
The housing
They're
is,
chasing pay.
yeah,
Right.
and the house,
That's what I do.
Benefits, that's what they're chasing.
yeah,
That's why,
That's right.
that's what I do.
Yeah.
Do the same thing.
and that's the reality until job does develop more. If you ever
So-
see a big, huge housing development come in, then I'll have hope.
So,
Yes.
but what is that, so let me ask you this, so you made mention of a couple of 3-year teachers. Are they suggesting that, I'm just using them because you said 3, or a couple of 3?
One of, there's two going into the,
Right, so when they say that if they didn't have a house, they wouldn't be here, what does that mean? Because
they don't want to buy a house here.
Right, no, I.
And they would rent an apartment if it was
Right.
available.
No,
That's kind of what
So
they're
what I'm
saying.
saying though is it doesn't necessarily have to be at this cheap rate. They don't want, they would not purchase a home here,
No.
but they would
Yeah.
rent something or whatever.
Yes,
So
yeah, they
if
would, and yeah, if you raised it a few
Cheap
hundred
rate.
bucks at the top to 1,000.
Yeah, they were to pay $1,000 a month or better.
Yeah, I mean, they would pay that because they're still getting, they're still getting paid well.
Right, well, I guess if they're willing to, if somebody were to say, I'm in my 3rd year and I'm only here because I have a $500 house, I would go, well, we gotta talk about this, right?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you know,
Or they enjoy working
Yeah.
at school.
right, I wanna
They
get
like
that
that,
part.
their job, they enjoy it, it's
They just don't wanna
outside
invest
aspect,
in-
exactly,
And that, honestly, yeah,
that's a problem,
that's, yeah,
and that's bigger than.
right, that's bigger than us.
Yes, it's
Right.
bigger than what we can tackle.
But when you guys think about changing the rental rate, I mean, we probably wouldn't get crazy.
I do agree with you, well,
I mean, for 3 years at $5 a month, I mean, there's just no place. There's no place. And it'd be different if they were, not well compensated, right? I mean, there's other districts around the state that's comparable to their salary.
Yeah.
Right? But I don't know, our guys start off pretty well, they're compensated pretty well, their health insurances. I mean, I can't see too much pushback there by trying to incentivize them to at least look, but still provide them reasonable housing, but that's reasonable on both sides, you know? But they're investing a little bit in their home, and we're giving them a little bit of cushion.
Even if you did first 2 years the same and then 3, 4, 5 goes up.
Well, I don't even know why we'd ever have to the first 2, because even if you rent an apartment, you know, your annual lease, you do a year lease, it's always gonna go up. I mean, after, you know, they always go up.
like, we wanna start at 500, may be attractive, but then,
Yeah.
like,
Well,
in year 5, they're at 900.
Right, I mean,
But
I
where should we start at 6?
don't know.
Seven fifty sounds like a reasonable number.
Right, I mean, you know, I think the number's there, I think we have room to play with it, I just don't know what. So, I don't know, I'll start.
Yeah, no, that's the one Achilles heel we could have is this. That's why I get so nervous about it too. You know, like, well, I don't want to
But then
restrict
we
it.
really have to look at it and go a little more reasonable though, because who's really gonna turn down a $600 or $700 house?
I mean, they're still doing it.
Right. I mean,
If there's anything for rent right now, it's 1,000 plus.
Yeah.
Yeah,
15
people wonder, maybe, you know,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
campers
I mean, yeah,
are
if you do
$800,
the math,
$900 a month, it's ridiculous.
what they save over a year, their very first year in teaching in Jones, which equates to actually 9 months-ish, 10. They've saved a crap ton of money in rent. So, yeah, I think the first year as an incentive to bring them in, draw them in, Mr. Snyder, like, you do a very good job at.
Getting them into the track.
Yeah, reel them in,
Okay,
for
yeah.
sure, reel them in, but then you retain them on the rest of the goodness, not just
Right.
Yes.
$900 a month house.
It's not just that, it's also our 4-day, it's our salaries, it's our,
Oh, for
it's
sure.
it's a work environment that they love, it's the facilities, it's the people
Great
too.
people, great staff, absolutely.
Once most people get here, they love the kids here, they just do. Our kids are one of the biggest draw, but they have to get here to see them. And a lot of times, they don't see it, and once they get here, they've said that after a year or two, we love the kids here. I mean, you know, yeah, so yeah, I would agree if you started it at 500 and then you could just do a year at a time.
What if we did something like 500, 650, 750, 850, 950? So it would go up basically 150 between year 1 and 2. I mean, I guess we really could start at 6.
I say 150 years, 500, 650.
650.
Yeah,
So
so on and
650,
so forth.
800, 950, and then at year 5 would be, that would be good.
I'm good with whatever y'all agree on that situation, just the numbers are, I think 500 is crazy cheap. But like I said, to draw them in and get them here and bring the good stuff into our district, absolutely, I think that's fair and good, and give them a year, and then, you know, if it works out, works out. If they wanna stay, they'll stay and pay a little more, if it didn't work out and they're not interested,
Not like they're getting
I am,
all the way out houses either. I mean,
Well, yeah, I'm sure,
Yeah.
if we can,
We
show
model
them,
it,
update
you
them,
know,
right.
especially if they know that there's an increase coming the very next year, maybe a substantial increase coming the very next year. It might encourage or discourage leaving or
Right,
staying.
right.
And I would hope that we have a relationship even with new staff that does start letting us know, I'm gonna have to go. Because, I mean, that way I can relay that to the board. That's what I'm thinking. I don't think it's just everybody's just gonna exit this without saying anything to us. I'm hoping we have a good enough rapport and relationship with our staff to know that it's becoming such an issue that we're gonna lose somebody. Like, that we can send the alarm up and let y'all know the red flag or whatever. Hey, guys, this is a problem. Y'all need to see this, what your new policy is about to create.
Right.
That way, I would think we would know, but.
Is this automatically drafted from the check?
Yes, it is.
Half on the
Half per page.
10 to 20. Right. Oh, once a month.
Once a month. I thought it was half per page.
So that needs to be changed.
Yeah, it says it right here.
It says 10 to
Yeah, I'm
20.
just reading it now, yeah.
That's what she said, but it's half per page. Maybe they request it. I don't know, but it's half per page. Unless they say just do it once. Maybe some people.
Right, right. Well, so it's our second read, we don't have to make any action. We can, if you guys want to. If you guys have some, I think the other thing we need to talk about is the other employees. What does that look like as far as, obviously, I think when we started this whole thing off, it was really for our licensed staff, right? I mean, years ago, when we started this,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So now we're kind of evolved into, we've kind of evolved into any district staff, right? Is that
Yes, so the attorney is asking if you still need her, because she's.
Oh, I didn't know if she,
Yes, she's down there.
where?
She's down in the closed session.
Oh,
So,
shoot.
I would not want to.
My apologies. Yes,
But yes, you still need her.
yeah, absolutely.
Yes, I'll just-
I apologize, I didn't realize that she was on for that litigation, I thought it was just our discussion.
And it is a discussion, you don't have to have her on. So that's,
I didn't even know she was invited, so, yeah, whatever.
if as needed, if you need to call her in the executive session to talk to her. There's also a handout that she
So should we come back to this next meeting?
Yes.
Yeah, let's move past this, guys. Let's go straight to let's just table it, let's think about it. The two biggest things I think we need to look at is the other employees, and maybe Mr. Snyder can have individual conversations with us if we have any questions regarding the individual, the other employees. Then, of course, we can we can have this discussion next meeting as well. And then let's just think on what we think of the 5-year rates and what it should look like. I apologize, I did not.
Nothing would happen even until July 1st.
Right, y'all have plenty of time.
Yes.
Yes.
Right.
Correct. Okay, I'll do
Perfect.
that.
Yep, thank you, sorry, I apologize, I did not know she was online. Waiting for us.
And so let me just name one line down here, and then.
So we probably take it out, right?
No. If you want stickers, yes.
Stickers. I'm good with stickers. Whoever chose $90,000.
All right.
All right, so the next, we're gonna move forward from that, let's go real quick to the baseball bullpen landscape. Discussion of $152,000.
So this basically cleans up the sides and puts bullpens. They're now grass. Mr. Walters, can you ask you what was why?
Yeah, so basically with the minimal scope of work that was the baseball field, this was an area that was an afterthought that was being considered in the project. And with the addition of the outfield turf that we're doing, we're gonna have 2 islands of sticker patch. It's basically that are perfect for bullpens for our kids to utilize if we put a little bit more in. And then it will eliminate any grass from cinder block pins to cinder block pins.
But it's not part of the field.
Yeah.
Right. That makes
Yeah.
sense.
I have one on that.
Yeah.
I can't get rid of it.
Anybody else, Mr. Crawford? I don't know if you have your packet for me. So basically that baseball bullpen landscape is $152,423.84. It's through AK Sales, and you just heard the definition of what they're looking for. Basically, everything in the baseball field will be some sort of landscape or turf. So we don't have any grass, stickers, all of that stuff, which is what we're trying to avoid by going to turf in the first place.
I am all for no stickers.
If you're from here, I hate stickers. They are.
Raised up in that, I don't want to be introduced.
My older brother was in South Carolina. He said video of him mowing his yard barefoot on.
Yeah, so.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Right, so based on that, I'm moving the motion to approve the $152,423.84.
I'll make it.
All in favor? Mr. Crawford?
Yes, sir.
Good, perfect.
Yes, sir.
Even in my house, it's not a safe place. If I step on stickers, they're.
But it is very funny, because actually, so here's why I think it's hilarious. When my family comes and visits, so we have carpet in the house, well, we don't anymore, we just, actually, today, I'm finished the flooring. But we've always had carpet. And my family will come visit, and now when they step on it, it's hilarious. It's like an IED. Yeah. They just crawl around, they moan,
And they know what's happening.
right, yeah. It's like, And then, you'll have the kids that live here, they're like, they just step, yank that thing and keep on going. And everybody else just falls like they got.
It doesn't even matter if there's grass in the area,
Right,
there's still
yeah.
stickers.
So that is a little fun, but outside of that, I hate it.
That's a whole other.
They are.
I told him to ship him a bag, go ahead
right? Just start spreading to the ground.
Spread that evil down there.
That's what we did. All right, so, anything for future discussion and consideration at this time?
So during lockdown, Ani said that she was out on the playground and they got locked out of the building, but they got locked in the school as well. Because they're in the playground, all the gates locked, doors locked. So they went somewhere and lined against the wall, but in reality, they're still in the open. How do they get out of it?
So I was out there.
Yeah, so how do you get out of that? 'Cause
So,
if
okay,
there is
so,
a threat, now they're lined up,
Now
get out of.
right, yeah, and
That's
so,
not a good thing.
right. So as far as when the lockdown goes, administrators have complete access still.
Okay.
And so we were able, do what? Yes,
The administrator.
Just
administrator.
administrator.
We have still first responder access is what it's called. So even in the event of a lockdown, our first responder access that all administrators have, along with first responders, can still gain access to any card reader on the campus. And so in that situation, you know, it looked like that they were stuck, but when we decided to move kids, try to get them in the way when the door was open, I don't think she was like with the other kids. Yeah. Right, and we were in the process of moving kids at that time, and that's when we learned it was a false alarm. And so we were just like, go play, you know, type of thing. So
She just said, she goes, that she knew, when she knew it was,
Yeah.
she was looking around saying, well, how do we, because she knows her card
it,
don't work more.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so in her mind, you got send ups.
right, yeah. So administrators do have what's called the first responder access. At that time, there were
What
two of us.
administrator?
Right.
Yeah, that's the one.
What about communication? Because I can have her phone on
The
her.
community.
When all this happened, is there like any kind of way to like,
So,
the intercom's locked out
right,
because of
so
this?
here's what I've thought, and I know we've talked about it in the past, and I don't think we just ever, I think we started down the path, we considered radios, remember?
Oh, yeah, we did.
Well,
They're not on, you think a phone's not communicating, a radio is like an impossible access.
so who would carry a radio?
They do when they do pickup, they're supposed to have them on playground on duty.
Okay. Well, so that's enforceable,
Yeah.
right? I mean, that's not
It is,
well, it's not optional,
no,
right?
it's not optional, but that's not guaranteed.
So can
I want something that's guaranteed.
Well, I don't know that, so I guess the question would be, you said there was 2 administrators at the time, but that's multiple accesses. So if you have a group of school students that are outside.
It's possible that a teacher takes her class out there and a lockdown happens. And there's no administrator.
Well, what if they're walking from the library?
Yeah.
Right, well, how do
Well,
they?
they're out in school.
Yeah, they're between the two campuses, well, that's impossible.
Well, no, but that.
That would be better, because they're not
Evacuate
on,
premises.
yes.
Well, they still can't on the playground, those
They
gates.
can't, they're locked.
No, in lockdown, don't the gates still open to go out but not in?
Well, no.
Doesn't
Sounds like-
Well, we,
That's why on the
I mean,
outside-
this is, I would say this is one of the benefits of having a unorthodox situation like this.
Yeah.
Their lines out.
My question was, I thought I heard stuff going on outside the speaker system. Maybe I didn't, because I was full reaction mode. So I'm curious, I'm gonna talk to her to
She
see.
said it was just replaying lockout or.
Yeah, okay,
She said it
so,
was replaying
Yeah.
constantly,
yes.
but there's like, I guess it's.
But as far as there was no other communication from what is actually happening.
Right.
No, because Mrs. Comar, for instance,
Yeah.
once that strict, she
Yeah, we
can't
don't-
do announcements
yeah.
anymore.
Right,
Yeah.
well, and that's,
Which
which
is
is
normal.
that's reasonable,
Yes.
except for. So this whole thing with the radios, that's not optional, right? If we have teachers that are out on.
It's not optional, but it's too late to fire somebody that doesn't have the radio in an actual situation. All I'm saying is I can fire people for not carrying radio, but I want something that's going to work, guaranteed, whether they have that radio or not.
But
It's a safety issue.
that doesn't.
Yes, it would, because what if you have push bars to get out of the playground? Well, they have just as much of the chance as a class walking down from the library.
So, but here's.
Where there's an out, like the bathrooms, bathrooms could become shelter in place when they're put in the back of your gym.
So there's one point that you're, and I know why you're doing it, you're just not familiar with how emergencies truly happen, right? So exactly what Mr. Loftus just said, you're reactionary, right? He has no concept of what is being announced over you hear it, but he's focused,
You're
right?
just
So, you become very muscle memory, right? So you don't hear much. So, and that being said, if you don't know where every teacher is and every student is, and you have a class out on the playground, right? And if that alarm goes off, you have 2 administrators, and if they don't have access, you literally have a group of students that's a fish in the barrel scenario.
Yeah.
Now, the problem is this, is then you say, well, put push marks, great. They have no idea where the threat is.
So they could be going into it.
Absolutely,
I got you.
they're moving directly into the threat, right? Which is not what you want. However, if you have people that have radios and you have a protocol that says you are going to hear information based on the active emergency coming from your administrators, right, or designees. All radio traffic stays clear outside of them. They simply.
They have controlling radios too.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
in a controlled manner, they say, all staff be advised. All staff be advised, we have an active scenario in the main hallway of the elementary school. Well, that's gonna tell your playground staff, exit right there, get out, because we know where the threat, we have a very strong understanding where the threat would be, right? And you're not gonna have every teacher screaming into the radio, because that will happen, guaranteed. But if you train on it, and they have the ability to hear information, part of their response is simply, if that alarm goes off, they grab that radio, they get turned on, and they're listening.
Yeah.
Because that communication can flow, right? Right, well, but what is it, so somebody's gonna have to constantly activate a pager, then you're gonna have to wait on the pager response time. Or a radio, it's just simply.
Yeah, there's a radio, so what it needs to be, now that you're saying that, it needs to be any time during school hours that you leave the building with kids, you better have a radio.
Right, yeah.
You go to pre-session, you go to the library, have a radio.
And I
If you
do
do
know
not,
that was the.
that's
why
why
we implemented.
that's very easy to implement with elementary. It needs to be.
Because, I mean, that scenario, like you said, you act immediately, you're like muscle memory, boom, I know where my kids are, I know where our staff is. But she, who's outside of the announcement, all she knows is I'm looking around and I'm trapped.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm trapped in the open, I'm not trapped in a classroom or somewhere that I would go to safe harbor. All I can do is hope to God they're on the other side of that wall and not clean up there.
Our correction is our attorney.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
Well, actually, that sounds like that's a very good lesson learned,
Right, absolutely.
real deal lesson learned. That's like, you can't go elementary playground without a whistle, remember?
Right, yeah.
These kids all gathered up, you can't even walk out the door.
Yeah.
That's
So,
great.
you know, in case that happens, and it can happen,
Yeah,
it's already happened.
what happened, yeah, that's a perfect example. And
So,
the other piece is when you just train on radio etiquette and communication, they don't have to be fancy about it at all, but they just have to know that this is gonna be your method of, you're gonna hear information. You don't necessarily want you to respond. It's just it's a direction of information, right?
right,
I mean,
like your only source of information.
right, outside of the alarm
And
system
direction.
threat, right, or whatever it said, right?
Even cell phones.
Well, yeah, I mean, my thing sits in my office when I'm.
But I know, and I know it's safety, so you can't do too much.
Right.
But there's a certain point where we've got every kind of gadget
Right.
and a little button that they can
But
do.
see,
and
the thing is,
and-
this,
and
is
if
it's
you-
all
said
things.
something about the radio, she said, she goes, we have radios, but we only use them for pickup.
Yeah.
And she was wanting, she goes, well, do we take them with us everywhere we go now, or?
I
said,
think
I
I figured out
don't
the
know.
building.
Relax.
And I think that's just, it's just an area that we identified, the plans,
Yeah.
Like, it's always.
That's how you learn everything.
It's called
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. You know what, that's
There's a
why.
lot of good that can come from
Well,
this.
I'll tell you,
Yeah.
even in the real world,
It's good that it came down.
even in the real world, I can tell you that every time of my career that I've been involved in it,
You know, about 5 minutes before the attorney got back to me.
Gotcha. We have this, every time you're involved in a big world of crazy happening, we roundtable it. And you're sitting there with people that are 20, 30 years of emergency response, law enforcement, it doesn't even matter. And you're all going, wow, we just leave it here, but man, we should clean this up. Right.
Always, because some, you start focusing like, what you think is the bigger problem after that.
So definitely something we can bring up. Let's put that on the next meeting and have a little discussion about it. So, let's go ahead and postpone your superintendent report. Let's go straight to closed session. If you guys are good with that, we need a motion to go into closed session and roll call. Second. Ms. Crawford, you good? Closed
I'm
session?
good, yes, sir,
Kurt,
yes, sir,
Randy, you good?
thank you.
Yourself, Ms. Stark, and I'm good as well. Closed session. See you, bud.
Yeah, good night.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am, I'm thinking of merge you on a call with a board member, and, so, all right. Are you guys both there now? Amy, Jackie, and Amy? Okay, all right, we got the attorney.
I'm so here, yes, thank you, thank you so much.
No, this is Atwood and Malone from Roswell. So this is a different attorney, this is our insurance attorney.
Understood.
Not our regular.
Yeah, I was confused with that. Good evening, I apologize that our meeting is running late, and my name is Jim Goss, I'm the board president. And you have in attendance, Mr. Randy Chavez, who's a board member, you have Mrs. Jamie Art, who's our secretary, and also on the phone is Mrs. Amy Crawford, who's also our vice president. I appreciate your time, and I'm sorry that we ran so late this evening.
Oh, it's no problem. I appreciate you inviting me to come speak on this case. I guess you just kind of want me to start off kind of giving a summary of where it's at, or do